10 days, but the Rockies will familiarize themselves again with 20th and Blake. Always good to be at Coors Field. And tonight, the Rockies will welcome in their rivals from the NL East, the two-time defending National League champion Philadelphia Phillies, to begin a three-game set. The Phillies are 7 games north of 500. The Rockies trying to get the back to 500 with a victory tonight. And good evening, everybody. I'm Drew Goodman. Glad you're along as always. Last time these two teams hooked up, I'm sure you remember it well. It was a cold, frigid night in October. The Rockies scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th. It looked for all the world like there was going to be a Game 5 back in Philadelphia for the right to move on to the NLCS. Unfortunately, Philadelphia bounced back with 3 in the top of the 9th, and the Rockies fell in 4 games to Philadelphia. Second time in 3 years they've met them in the postseason. Rivalry has developed. Good friends get together before the games. Charlie Manuel and Jim Tracy. And as I bring in George Frazier, you know, we always talk about offense with Philadelphia. They have one of the great lineups in all of baseball, but their pitching's not bad.
Well, whenever you can line up Roy Halladay, it's a pretty good day at the ballpark. He has 6 wins of the 15 that the starters have this year. The bullpen has 4 wins, but yeah, you toss in Hamill. They've got a very good rotation. They got an old guy that throws pretty good too in his own and Moyer. But I think if you look at these numbers, it explains a lot about their ball club. Look at May, 7-2, 220 earned run average. That's the best in the National League. The last 5, they haven't given up a home run in the last 56 innings. Kendrick did his start, who's starting the game tonight for Phillies, a shutout for 7 innings against the St. Louis Cardinals. He was outstanding with a hard sinker. And, of course, Moyer, the oldest man in the history of the game, the other was Phil Niekro at 46 years, to throw a shutout, a 2-hit shutout.
You know what really gets my attention? The 56 innings without giving up a home run, because it all came at the bandbox at Citizens Bank. Let me flip around. We're a 3-man team today. Jeff Houston is with us. And you know about Jimmy Rollins. He's hurt right now. But Utley and Ryan Howard, they get a lot of attention. Jason Worth right now, early MVP candidate in the National League.
Well, he has to be, because if you ask a number of people coming into the ballpark tonight who was leading the Phillies in RBIs, the third guy they would say would be Jason Worth. I mean, here's a guy that's the National League Player of the Week this week. He's a guy that has 26 RBIs. He can hit the ball out to right field, left field. He can do it all. He's that 5-tool player. And to me, he also provides a lot of balance for Charlie Manuel in that lineup, because you have Utley, you have Ryan Howard, both that hit left-handed. You have somebody then that can do some damage from the right side before you go back over to Raul Ibanez. So he provides that cushion for Charlie Manuel, but also some headaches for the opposing manager.
Yeah, he came up with the Dodgers, and he's reached stardom now with the Philadelphia Phillies. He is very, very good, and as you know, it is a very deep lineup, even in the absence of Jimmy Rollins. When we come back, we'll update you on some roster moves that the Rockies have made as they return home to Coors Field for a 7-game homestand. Look who's back. Great matchup tonight, Philadelphia and Colorado, the first of three. Then the Nationals come in for 4 ball games. And the Rockies made some roster moves today. The best news is Brad Hopp is back with the club. He's healthy. They miss his bat. Carlos Gonzalez, as we told you yesterday, George, you well know, he's down. He's on the bereavement list. He is down in Venezuela. Will be gone tonight, tomorrow, and he'll be back tomorrow. But probably he can't go tomorrow because he's on the bereavement list. Hopefully again on Wednesday.
Well, yeah, I mean he's going to travel all day tomorrow anyway. I don't know that you want to run a risk of putting him in after sitting on a flight as long and changing planes and doing everything anyway. It's very easy for them just to activate a guy hitting 357. It's a pretty good way to activate things. And Brad Hopp, he's ready to go. And talking to him, he said, "Man, I forgot what A-ball was like. This big league thing's a lot better." He went down, he swung the bat well at Modesto, carried it on over to Sacramento. Same results there. He's looking forward to get back to help this team put a winning streak together.
Absolutely. So that's the game plan for tonight. The Rockies and Phillies reuniting at 20th and Blake. Come on back. Baseball is next. Colorado Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Quest High-Speed Internet. Get blazing fast speeds that won't burn up your wallet. By E470, it's quick, easy, and available to anyone. Test drive it today. By the Ford Fusion, it's the 2010 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Ford Fusion, drive one. And by Grainger, with over 900,000 products for the ones who get it done. And the Rockies getting ready to go. Greg Smith, who still has the sweatshirt on, will be toeing the rubber tonight against Kyle Kendrick. And the first man he'll face is Shane Victorino, who's off to a very solid start. The average isn't great, but he has hit 7 home runs, batting in the leadoff spot in the absence of Jimmy Rollins. Here's the rest of Charlie Manuel's lineup today. Placido Polanco, who used to be a Phil and then was with Detroit the last few years, is back. He's playing third base now. Great 2-hole hitter. Chase Utley, you need not say any more about how great he has been in his career. Product of UCLA. Ryan Howard, former MVP. Jason Worth, we chatted about him in the open. Raul Ibanez has come on after a slow start. Carlos Ruiz is hitting .325. Wilson Valdez gets the call at shortstop tonight. And then Kyle Kendrick batting 9th. Let's take a look at the scouting report on Greg Smith.
Left-hander coming out and starting against the Philadelphia Phillies, an overall record of 1-2 with a .635 earned run average. The fastball 86-90. You got a slider at 78-83, and then a curveball 72-76. The changeup 78-83 miles an hour. I think he needs to utilize these three pitches as he takes the mound against this very good fastball hitting team of the Philadelphia Phillies in order to have success in this game.
Let's take a look at the gloves behind Greg Smith tonight. In the outfield, it'll be Seth Smith in left field. Dexter Fowler, naturally, will be in center. And then Brad Hopp is back in right field after missing the last couple of weeks. Clint Barmas gets the assignment at shortstop with Troy Tulowitzki down for probably a few days. Ian Stewart at third, Melvin Moore at second, Jason Giambi for Todd Helton at first. I know it was very important, as Miguel Olivo was catching, very important for Jim Tracy to get 4 at-bats for Giambi against somebody that isn't a nasty closer.
Well, it is hard. It's very difficult when you think you're the guy to come in and pinch hit, and you got to do it in the 9th inning and do it late. You know, you got to do it against a Brad Lidge, you got to do it against a Broxton versus getting 4 at-bats against a guy consistently. Well, and again, I think the only guy that's going to benefit from this, the entire Colorado Rockies and Giambi, to get some consistent at-bats for what he's trying to accomplish as a pinch hitter. Defense will play a role, obviously, in this ball game. Smith and the ground balls, you're going to have speed. Victorino, guy that can get on base, steal a base. Amazingly, though, he's hit 7 home runs. Not amazingly, strong guy. 7 home runs and 25 RBIs out of the leadoff spot.
You know, George, for me, even though they play different spots, obviously Victorino's an outfielder, Jimmy Rollins is a shortstop. They're very similar. They're powerful guys in small packages that run real well and can hit the ball over the wall. First pitch brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Text keyword pizza followed by a space and your name to 95323 to receive your Domino's special offer and to be entered to win a pizza party for 15. First pitch in there for a strike. Well, the Phillies, if they've had an Achilles heel this year, it's been lefty starters. They're just 2-5 against lefty starters and 17-7 against righties. Now, a year ago, I will tell you, against lefties, they were 29-16, which was the highest winning percentage of any club in the National League against lefties. Here's the 0-2, and this ball is hit well left center field. Smith, a long run, he's not going to get it. And Victorino can fly, and he's thinking about going for 3. And the throw to third won't get him. George, that 0-2 pitch was way too good.
Well, it's way too good against a very offensive team, talking about Philadelphia, because they are a very good fastball hitting team, and they're a good team when behind an account, when you make mistakes, they will make you pay. Cutter, middle half, too much of the plate, out over the plate where Victorino likes it, and he scalded into left field over Smith's head and allowed Victorino, and again, early in this ball game, he's just got to forget about it. 3rd triple of the year for Victorino. Hard to start a game that way if you're Greg Smith, particularly when you struggled at home, 1-1 with an .831 earned run average, along with 4 home runs.
Yeah, his last ball game at Coors Field, he lasted 1 inning, and Greg has a changeup, and Polanco was out front. But his issues, George, have been more with command, so it was good to see him get to the 0-2 count quickly.
Too good a command.
Yeah, exactly. The 0-2 pitch, he'll tell you, was way too good. That misses inside, ball 1. 1-1 on Polanco. We'll tell you the home plate umpire is Phil Cuzzy. He's joined by Jerry Crawford. The crew chief is at second base. And on the corners, Brian O'Nora at third, and Chris Ciccione is at first. Polanco's showing some pop this year. He's got 5 home runs. You don't see him do that much. He's a contact guy, and he has swung and missed twice. And this is an easy RBI situation for Polanco, who does get the ball in play because the infield's back.
That doesn't make it a lot easier. And he had an ugly swing on the breaking ball down and in, surprisingly.
One and two. Greg Smith with Victorino at third, nobody out in the first. And this is to shallow right, fairly shallow right. Hop can throw. Victorino can run. And safe at the plate. Nothing wrong with Brad Hop's arm after the last couple of weeks off for the most part.
Positioned himself perfectly, knows their speed at third base in Victorino, so what he's got to do is exchange the ball very quickly and be very accurate, and he did both of those.
1-0 Philadelphia. A sac fly by Polanco, his 18th RBI.
Olivo trying to block out, get out in front to go catch the ball, shorten the distance, then come back and try to put a sweep tag on. You can see the foot hit ahead of the tag by Olivo, and it's 1-0 Philly.
And good positioning by the home plate umpire, Phil Cuzzi. So 1 out and 1 in for Philadelphia. Here's Chase Utley. He's one of the hardest working guys in the game.
And I'll say this, and I think the reason Garrett Atkins had such a great year, he went back to California and he worked out daily with Utley. And he came back and had a very good year here. Then the following year he didn't do that. Unfortunately, the results weren't very good for Garrett Atkins, as they're not good in Baltimore right now.
Yeah, he's struggling in Baltimore. We haven't had an opportunity really to talk about it. I'm sure Rockies fans curious to how he's doing in his new surroundings. Hopefully he's able to turn it around, but it's been a slow start for Garrett. Chase Utley in his career has hit .333 at Coors Field, 6 home runs and 27 driven in. Greg Smith's ahead of Utley 0-2. And this is in the air to Seth. Smith's got to come hard. It's going to drop. So 0-2 base hit. Now the first by Victorino was really squared up. Utley, Jeff Houston, just kind of hit it off the end of the bat.
Well, a little soft serve out to left field. I mean, that's all he was trying to do, is just take the ball the other way. And that's the thing with Chase Utley. You don't know where to play the guy, because he can hit the ball that way. He can pull the ball. He can do many different things. And now he's got an opportunity over here to kind of allow that hole for Ryan Howard to be just a little bit bigger, because you have to hold him on at first base.
Well, here's the big man, Ryan Howard. He hit a home run in Game 1, a home run in Game 2. He hasn't hit a ton of home runs since then. 3 since the opening couple of ball games. You know, at the end of the year, he's going to have his 40-plus.
And 120 RBIs. That's one thing about Ryan Howard. You said big man, but he's 25 pounds lighter than what he was a year ago.
He's still big man, isn't he?
He's a big man, but the reason he did it was because his defense was hurting. He didn't feel he had enough mobility at first base, and he said, you know, I wanted to be not a one-dimensional type player where all I did was just hit home runs and drive in runs. I want to be able to help this club defensively.
And good for him.
Yeah, I admire him.
George, you know that, and Jeff, they're guys that get comfortable, say, hey, I've been an MVP, I have a lot of money in the bank, I got a lot more money coming, and I'll be the guy that hits 40 home runs and drives in 130, and I'm not going to worry so much about what I do defensively. That's not how he wanted to operate.
No, but also he realized he's 30 now, and he's got to do things a little bit differently when you get to that 30-year mark, because your body starts to change and you have to change up and mix up your routine, and that's what Ryan Howard did.
I can't believe he's 30.
Yeah. But just seeing, I mean, that's what you have to go through as a player, though, and he was rewarded with the big contract.
Good pitch by Smith, and he strikes out Ryan Howard. I will say this, I know Philadelphia has a run. Utley's at first base, but it's good to see Smith around the strike zone with regularity.
Well, it sure is. 15 pitches so far in the ball game. 12 of them have been strikes. Howard, see how he picked the front foot up, set it down to try to wait on the pitch to get there. I think he anticipated something other than that slow curveball. And I think the struggles of Smith early on from the pitching perspective, he didn't have good command of the secondary stuff. Tonight he's shown he has early.
This is one of the most patient hitters and productive hitters in the National League, Jason Worth.
You talk about a guy thrown to the scrap heap and then bouncing back and having the years that he has had with Philadelphia. Can't miss prospect with the Dodgers, and then the injury bug hit. And I know, Jeff, I appreciated his comments the other day, too. And he said, you know, they're talking about contract. They're talking about long-term. He said, let's just play baseball.
Sure. Well, I mean, he's going to be a free agent at the end of this year. He's going to have a chance to make a whole truckload of money. But he has his priorities right. You know, let's try to win another championship, and everything else will come.
It's 3-0 now on Jason Worth. Jim Tracy, of course, had Jason Worth when he was the Dodger manager, and there was never a question about his ability. A big, rangy guy with power, runs real well. He couldn't stay healthy in a Dodger uniform. And that misses. So on 4 pitches, Worth pushes Utley to second base, and it'll bring up Raul Ibanez.
That's okay, though. I mean, the guy that's it's National League Player of the Week, to then be able to go left on left. That's not a bad job of kind of pitching around Jason Worth.
Well, Ibanez hitting just .217 this year against left-handers, too, with only 1 extra base hit. Knowing the lineup, knowing where you are.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Jeff.
Yeah.
First inning, and now he's going to be 20-plus pitches, and he's been, even when things have gone pretty well, as they did in San Diego, he worked with some traffic, but he was 5 and gone, and that puts a lot of pressure on the bullpen.
Yeah, but you know that going into the game. But I just look at the swings that Ryan Howard took, and if you let Jason Worth give him a pitch, all of a sudden he jumps on one, you're down 3-0.
Yep. Here's Ibanez, couple home runs, 16 RBIs. A spectacular first half he had for Philadelphia last year, and then hurt his wrist and tailed off in the second half, but still a very dangerous hitter. Tuna. Ibanez last year, 34 jacks, 93 RBIs.
Look where he hits in the lineup, too. There's not a whole lot of guys left on base whenever you got to come in behind Howard and Utley. Try to swing the bat.
He had 51 ribbies in their first 50 games last year. That's how effective he was. That's in there 2-1. He had 368 with 13 home runs, 35 RBIs through their first 35 games.
Well, let's not forget that he was in Seattle, kind of flying under the radar over there. He was putting up good numbers there, not quite what he did in Philly, just different ballparks, but a little bit more exposure now.
And Smith falls behind 3-1.
Well, you know, when they let Pat Burrell go as a free agent and they brought this guy in, everybody's thinking, you know, is he going to be able to replace the numbers that Pat Burrell put up? And he has, and he's a better left fielder than what Pat Burrell was.
That catches an edge, 3-2. So the runners will be off, and there's good speed aboard in Utley and Worth.
4 strike zone so far. Phil Cuzzi has called the low pitch for a strike.
Thank goodness, because you need that against this Philly lineup. Swung on and missed, got him on a changeup. So Greg Smith strikes out Ibanez with 2 aboard. A run for the Phillies in the first. Shane Victorino with a triple. Placido Polanco with the fly ball.
They lead it 1-0 as you go to the bottom half of the first inning. Let's take a look at the Suzuki keys to this ball game. Greg Smith, to me, is one of the biggest keys. Obviously gave up a run here in the first, but able to work through it, get out of it with a couple of key strikeouts to Howard and Ibanez. Kendrick, the other guy, he has struggled here at Coors Field, 635 earned run average. He's given up 6 home runs in his 30-plus innings this year at the big leagues, but has yet to give up a home run to a Rocky hitter. Go figure, with a 685 earned run average at Coors Field. The replacements, just talking about Gonzalez switching places with Hop, and hopefully Hop's bat stays hot.
So Kyle Kendrick, who's from the Pacific Northwest, 25-year-old, originally a 7th-round pick, turned down a scholarship to play quarterback at Washington State University. Seth Smith will lead it off, 232 average, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs. And Smith takes a strike. Kendrick's either, George, really good or really struggles.
Well, the game the other night against St. Louis, he did a great job of keeping his sinker down and the ability to throw it into left-handers and let it work back to the middle of the plate, so he got a lot of call strikes.
Phillies blanked the Cardinals in that game 4-0. 2-1. His previous start against the Mets, he gave up 4 runs on 5 hits in 5 innings. The start before that against Arizona, he lost. He gave up 5 runs in 5 innings, 8 hits, walked 4. And this ball is ripped to right center field for a base hit. Victorino gets over, and it's a leadoff knock for Seth Smith. Let's take a look at the rest of the Southwest batting order for Jim Tracy as the Rockies return home. Dexter Fowler will be in that 2-hole. Brad Hop slides to the 3-hole in the absence of Helton. Giambi will hit behind him. Then Melvin Mora. He's been swinging the bat. Ian Stewart hit both home runs the Rockies hit on the 9-game California swing. Miguel Olivo behind the plate. Clint Barmas is batting 8th, playing shortstop. And don't forget about Greg Smith in the 9-hole. Smith can swing the bat.
Just 444 clip. Pretty good. A couple of RBIs.
There's a bunt, and Polanco is going to be able to throw out Fowler. But the tying run moves to second base.
Let's look at the scouting report on Mr. Kendrick. Fastball 88-92. Threw harder when he first came to the big leagues. In a Phillies uniform, slider at 81-84, changeup 81-86. Again, it's important for him to off-speed, keep the ball down in the strike zone, and try to work ground ball outs. Here's an interesting note. How about this? 50-plus starts as a Philly. Do you realize he has the 3rd highest winning percentage?
You know, Dougie looked that up. Doug Marino, who does our stats up here for us. And I was flabbergasted. I said, are you sure about that?
Grover Cleveland Alexander, Hall of Famer, 190 and 91. Now this is since 1901, folks. Tom Seaton, 43 and 24. He pitched in 1912 to 1913. And then Kendrick. How about Steve Carlton as 241 wins and 161 losses.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, lefty was pretty good as he relaxes in Durango tonight.
0-1 on Hop, a .354 career average against Philadelphia, and that catches the top of the strike zone. 0-2.
Kendrick has to be able to work inside of the lefties. The average against lefties that he's given up is at a .333 clip. He just really doesn't have that hard biting slider to get into the left-handed hitter's blind spot, that being down and in or right underneath their hands.
It's more of a cutter. It's just kind of flat.
It just doesn't do a whole lot.
That ball cut, and Brad was able to foul it off. Hop was out with a left quadriceps strain. He was around the club, the big league club, most of the time that he was off, and then he went out and had to start in A-ball and 1 in AAA to get back. But, you know, the injury was not super serious. but it was a nagging thing, and they wanted to get it completely quieted down.
Well, take care of it. Yeah, take care of it now instead of waiting for it. See if something happens. You end up with a bigger pull out, longer period of time.
That's why it's doubtful you'll see Troy Tulowitzki in this series. They're going to make sure that the quad strain that he has doesn't linger. Strike 3 on the outside corner. So Kendrick strikes out Hop. 2 outs. That'll bring up Giambi. Let's take a look at the Mercedes-Benz defensive alignment for Philadelphia. Raul Ibanez is in left. Shane Victorino in center. Jason Worth, who threw out a runner at the plate yesterday against Atlanta in a 5-3 win. He's in right. Polanco and Valdez left side. Utley and Howard right side. And Carlos Ruiz, still overshadowed by his more famous teammates. He's pretty solid, though. And base hit to right. Here comes Smith, and the throw will go to second base. And Jason Giambi, boy, not only did he tie up the game, but Jeff, that has to feel awfully good for Giambi.
They're about 100-pound weight lifted off the shoulders. A lot of people saying, what's wrong with the swing? Nothing. He'd only had 22 at-bats in about 5.5 weeks. He jumps right on the first pitch that he sees from Kyle Kendrick. About thigh high. Notice the leg drive through the palm up, palm down. Just a gorgeous swing from the Hyundai cam. And then the way that ball hopped up on Jason Worth, easily score. If you're Richie Dower, go ahead and wave him on because he's not going to throw home.
Melvin Moore at the plate. He had a base hit in the 9th against Jonathan Broxton yesterday. He takes strike 1. Jim Tracy, who is, he is a player's manager through and through. And he has been saying for about 10 days now, listen, Giambi will be okay. He has not had an easy at-bat yet. And that's not to say Kyle Kendrick's an easy at-bat. But he's not Jonathan Broxton. He's not Heath Bell, George. And getting 4 at-bats against, a middle-of-the-rotation guy.
No question. If you let him gain, even though he's got all the home runs, the hits, and he's been all the places he's been, when you start to struggle, you still start to second guess a little bit. You start to feel like, can I catch up to that fastball? Can I hit the good breaking ball? And go out and get himself 4 at-bats, drive in a couple of runs, and see what happens.
Outside on Moore, it's 1-2. 2 guys at first base visiting who hit the ball really, really far. Ryan Howard and Jason Giambi. 1-1 ball game. We're in the first. Two and two. Rockies on that 9-game swing to California inside the NL West went 4-5. It's a tough loss yesterday for Ubaldo Jimenez. 7 innings. He gives up 2 hits. 1 barely left the infield, and he loses. This ball's bounced up the middle with topspin, and Valdez will get there to get the force on Giambi. So the Rockies have a good start against Kyle Kendrick, and the big man, Jason Giambi, drives in his 2nd run of the year. Better question is tonight, and always text your answers to 95323. Would you cheer for an opposing pitcher if he were throwing a perfect game? Text rocks 1 for yes, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Text rocks 2 for no, he's pitching against my team. And Brakes Plus celebrating 20 years, rolling back prices during May only. Get a $49 semi-metallic brake package. That's a pretty good deal. $69 for ceramic lifetime brakes. Tremendous deal. See Brakes Plus for details. Carlos Ruiz will lead things off against Greg Smith, and the pitch is high. We've just been told that Jim Tracy came out to talk to home plate umpire Phil Cuzzi because of that. Somebody's got binoculars in there, and that's a no-no. That's a no-no. That's a major no-no. That's Mick Billmeyer, who's the bullpen coach and good guy, but you're not supposed to have binoculars.
And you wonder why, folks, is because they can have someone on the phone. He can look in and see fastball, and they can whistle a sign very quickly to third base coach Palazzo, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, he's yelling,
come on, Ruiz. Yeah, whatever it is. First name, 14, whatever.
Number, exactly.
On the ground, foul again past Sam Palazzo. 2-2. Carlos Ruiz has played his entire career in the Philadelphia chain. 31-year-old, native of Panama. Pretty good closer came out of Panama, George. 3-2. Mariano Rivera.
Is he any good?
He's still pretty good.
You know what? He's not a bad cutter either.
Yeah, some people say, you can't be a one-trick pony. Well, it's worked for Mariano. This ball is lined to left, the base hit for Ruiz as we check in with Alana Rizzo. Alana.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. Just a quick update on Houston Street. I ran into Houston today in the Rockies clubhouse. Very good to see him there. He's been away from the ball club, as you guys know, rehabbing. He said he feels absolutely great. He's throwing pain-free. He's thrown off the mound 4 different times, and he's actually going to finally begin a rehab assignment, as they call it, between Tulsa and Colorado Springs, and he feels good. He said, I'm hopeful that within the next 2 weeks everything goes according to plan, and he's hoping to be activated on May 25th, guys.
All right, he threw down in Arizona. I was happy to be down there for a week, but he threw down in Arizona. Alana, fastball was up to 88, 89 miles an hour. He went out through 1 inning against the Diamondback Ball Club, 6 pitches to get 3 outs. So they made it deemed healthy to come back here, throw a bullpen, and head on out to Little Rock, Arkansas.
He's going to throw Thursday, Saturday, and Tuesday for Tulsa. And on Saturday, he's actually going to throw 2 innings. That's the schedule. And then he will move on to Colorado Springs. They'll have him work back-to-back days in Colorado Springs, Friday and Saturday. And then if all checks out, as Alana said, he'll be activated when the Rockies return home after their next road trip. Wilson Valdez is behind 0-2.
It was nice to hear some encouraging news. Yeah. Guys, guys coming back, or guys going to be back on Wednesday with Jason Hamble. You got Jeff Francis not too far out. Finally.
Well, if everybody's going to have injuries, we all know that. You'd like to get them out of the way if you had a choice early in the season. And Valdez is tied up in knots. Greg Smith gets his 3rd punch out, and that'll bring up Kendrick.
Well, on the 4th strike zone, you'll see the location. It is very good. It's a big cutter down and in at 82 that he works under the bat. When Huey's talking about that blind spot on left-handers, right-handers have the same with a left-hander on the mound. He was able to get it underneath the swing and get the strikeout.
Kendrick this year is 0 for 8 at the plate.
Nope. Ian Stewart lost his glove.
You got to have that.
Well, I'm just saying somebody needs to get over to third base. Okay.
Now, you know what? I hadn't seen that one in a while.
I hadn't, but Ian realized that he couldn't get it, so he just started running back to third base. He charges in real hard, doesn't get the bunt, and then just slips, and as he's going back, the glove comes off. He steps on it.
I'm glad that was
so's Ian.
How about if somebody fired the ball at him? Now, if they throw it medium speed, maybe he reaches out and grabs it. And they fire it, I don't think I don't know if he's reaching out.
Good thing Ruiz was over there, not some burner, somebody that could possibly go over to third base.
Had he noticed, man, it may have been worth going for it. 2 outs. Shane Victorino, who tripled leading off the ball game and scored, is up there. This replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Now until June 30th, replay any of your non-winning scratch tickets in a second chance drawing. Enter your tickets at coloradolottery.com. On an 0-2 pitch, he tripled, which pitchers don't like, pitching coaches don't like, managers don't like.
No, there's only one guy that likes it. That's the hitting coach. Victorino with runners in scoring position. 342, and with a couple of outs, 292. So obviously clutch hits from Victorino. That's why he's got 25 RBIs to start the season.
I was kidding him earlier. Georgia said, hey, man, you got 7 bombs. You can go hit in the big group. The big boy group. He said, no. I know how. I know where my bread's buttered.
Wise man.
Never want to go with the big boys and get embarrassed.
He's out homered Howard 7-5. George, at the end of the year, does that hold up?
I don't think so.
2-1. The Flying Hawaiian. Speaking of Ryan Howard, I said, what'd you do this winter? He said, well, I went to Shane Victorino's wedding. I went to Jimmy Rollins' wedding. It's on the banquet circuit. All his teammates getting married.
Buying a lot of presents, wasn't he?
Yeah. 3-1. I'm thinking, George, if you get married in this day and age and half the wedding party are your teammates who are multimillionaires, you probably get nice gifts.
Nice gifts?
Yeah.
Better be some nice crystal.
That's a strike. 3-2.
Victorino's mad at himself, George, that he didn't fire at that pitch that was up.
A pretty good high ball hitter, too. That's the surprising side of it.
Especially from the right side.
Three and 2 on Victorino. 2 outs. Ruiz at second. And that's too far in. That is walk number 2. First and second for Polanco. Charlie Manuel, 54 pounds lighter. He looks great. He feels great. Pete McCannon's the bench coach. Rich Doobie's the pitching coach. Milt Thompson's been their hitting coach for a while. Sam Perlazo at third. Davey Lopes at first. And Mick Billmeyer's out in the bullpen.
Did I read it right earlier in the year? Davey said this is going to be his last year. I read that in an article. He's decided, I'm just going to retire. Time to go home.
Well, he had the health issues a couple years ago. He says he's feeling great. Talked to him today. No issues with that. He did lose his father about a month ago. You know how difficult that is. Davey's one of the smartest coaches I ever had as far as base running, stealing signs, picking up pitchers' moves. He was phenomenal when I was with him in the Texas Rangers. I just pick his brain all the time.
Very good base stealer, but didn't get the recognition of his time of Vince Coleman and of Ricky Henderson during that same period. But a very good base stealer in his own right.
Yeah, George, I think that's a very fair statement. He got overshadowed, but he was tremendous on the base pass. In the air to center field, and almost a misjudge there by Dexter Fowler. Off the bat, I didn't think it was hit that well. Dexter recovers, and no damage done in the second. And Philadelphia getting together again. Fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. If Colorado scores 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6. Buy a medium drink, you get 4 tacos. Great deal. Ian Stewart will lead it off for the Rockies. And an off-speed delivery, drops in on the outside corner for a strike. Stewart with 6 home runs, leading the club. He's got 17 RBIs. Hit a home run in the 12th inning on getaway day at San Diego. That was the difference in that Rockies victory. Hit one over the center field wall against Ramon Ortiz on Saturday at Dodger Stadium. The only 2 long balls of the 9-game trip for the Rockies.
Welcome back to Denver. Pete Mackanin, a bench coach for the Philadelphia Phillies, was interviewed for a couple of managers' jobs last year. Played for the Denver Bears. 276 games in a Bear uniform. 78 at his best year. 17 home runs, 112 RBIs, and he hit 276 here in Denver.
3-1 on Stewart.
Well, this past weekend, too, he was the acting bench coach.
Or the manager.
Or, acting manager. Charlie Manuel took a couple personal days.
Charlie's daughter got married.
Yeah.
No, I don't understand that. Unless she just wanted to have a May wedding. Honey, I'm a manager of a major league team. I typically work during the summer months.
Well, it's about her, not him.
That's right.
Don't argue with them.
No. Yes, dear.
3-2. This is popped foul down the third base line, and it's going to get back in the seats, fortunately. Stewart, Olivo, and Clint Barmas here in the second inning. Really turned into a pleasant night, hasn't it, Jeff?
Well, it has. Earlier today during batting practice, the wind was howling, swirling. It's still a little breezy, even down here on the field. I know the flags might show a little bit different. There's still a little breeze down here, but it's very, very comfortable. Nice playing weather.
Stewart keeps the AB alive. Rockies are 7-5 at Coors Field this year. They have never had a losing homestand since Jim Tracy took over. 3 with the Phils, and then a vastly improved Washington National team in for 4. Okay, yesterday, hey guys, yesterday Dallas Braden throws the perfect game. Only the 19th in Major League history. One came in the postseason, of course, with Don Larson. The first 2 came in 1880. Dallas Braden throws a perfect game, and it takes me to one of my all-time favorite baseball quotes. I'll share it with you right after this. Utley's going to throw out Stewart. Pedro Guerrero. Remember Pedro Guerrero? Hit the ball. Yeah, he wasn't a great defender, but he hit the ball over the wall with a degree of regularity. He was asked once what goes through his mind when he's out on defense and a ball was hit. And he says, first, I think, don't hit it to me. then I think, I hope they don't hit it to Sachs. I just thought of that earlier because, you know, in a perfect game, it's not just about the pitcher. All of a sudden, in Huey, you played behind Nolan Ryan in a no-hitter. Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking about that poor shortstop in the top of the 9th inning with 2 outs and a little kind of soft line, a couple hops to him. He's got to wait on it. Cliff Bennington. I was thinking, my goodness, what is going through his mind right now in a perfect game? I know how bad it was when I played the no-hitters. I mean, I was nervous as all get out. After I made a play, I was like, I was just like Pedro. Don't hit it to me.
You were like Pedro. Don't hit it to me. Don't hit it to Sachs. Miguel Olivo hits one to left center field. Got a little bit off the end of the bat. 2 outs.
Those are really good days to be a DH. The guys are throwing perfect games.
2 outs. Clint Barmes coming up. Our Geico quote of the day. Robin Roberts just passed. And he said, generally, in the little leagues, you're up against a good pitcher who throws great. What does the coach say? Get a walk. Isn't that a beautiful way to learn to hit? For 4 years, you stand up there looking for a walk. Quite a pitcher, Robin Roberts. George, you'll appreciate this, and Doug will probably run some stats for us. And we appreciate Doug for looking up the exact Pedro Guerrero line also. But Robin Roberts' career numbers, Hall of Fame Robin Roberts, very similar to Euro teammate, the guy you believe should be in the Hall of Fame, and that's Bert Blyleven.
Yeah, I do, and I firmly believe Bert should be in the Hall of Fame. And again, I think it's over 150 complete games for Bert Blyleven, 1 hitters, and he had 74.2% of the votes this year. I think he'll get in this next year.
I think he will also. He deserves to be in. You know, Blyleven had far more strikeouts than Robin Roberts.
Pitched on some bad teams, though. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Cleveland. He won a world championship with Pittsburgh and a world championship with the Minnesota Twins. But you know, there's some lean years in Cleveland when he was there.
That's a strike. 3-2. Barmes showing a lot of patience. Greg Smith, who can swing that bat. It's not decoration on his shoulder.
He's getting his timing, too, right now.
And he's going to get a chance. This ball, at least a single. Barmes, a wide turn. And Philadelphia closed that left center field gap pretty quickly. So Barmes continues to swing the bat pretty well. And that'll bring up Smith and his .444 average. How'd those meetings go, George, you know, before a series when the pitchers get together? There's a hitter's meeting, there's a pitcher's meeting. Before you exit, do they all say, hey, listen, by the way, such and such pitcher
no
can
question.
hit?
Oh, wow, absolutely do. There's one right back at Kendrick, and he had to throw him out of first. There's no question. You knew who could swing the bat, and you tried to stay out of that situation.
Baseball on FSN is brought to you by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Brakes Plus. Brakes Plus, a whole lot more. By Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Call 303-571-1114 and ask about our hometown sports package. And by Hyundai. Get more style, more MPG, and more value at your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Good look from a distance at Coors Field. The Rockies and Phils have developed a nice little rivalry because of the Rockies sweeping the Phillies in the postseason in 07 and then meeting up with him again last postseason, where they were within a whisker of taking Charlie Manuel's club to 5 games. Charlie was saying before the ball game, George, that both teams dealing with some injuries, and he said, I know that at the end the Rockies are going to be there.
Well, and I think too,
no question in my mind.
It all starts right out on the hill when you get everybody healthy that's supposed to be in this rotation. And again, you're talking about a guy, De La Rosa, that's not even pitching. 19-4 in his 26 starts, more wins than anybody. Ubaldo Jimenez, throw him into the mix of the thing. There's 2 number 1 and 1As you got right there in the rotation, and only one of them's throwing right now. Bring Jeff Francis back into the mix again if he's healthy and throwing away. And by the way, he start the other day, 4 2/3 in Tulsa, a couple of runs given up. Jeff told me after the start that he felt like his fastball command was not what it needed to be, but was happy with the curveball, slider, and changeup. Houston Street.
Be great to get him back in the fold. 0-2 right now on Chase Utley. Scotty Garrett. Houston Street visiting. Scotty, the assistant trainer to Keith Duggar. Utley with 8 home runs, and not this time. He's gone. That is strikeout number 4 for Greg Smith.
Well, you don't see this very often. That's Chase Utley chasing the ball this badly out of the strike zone. Totally fooled on where it was going to be. Kind of a feeble swing on a very good pitch for Mr. Smith to get the strikeout.
You just don't see him that off balance.
Yeah, one thing I said, and part of the keys to his success, Jeff, tonight was going to have the ability to throw his off-speed stuff for strikes and get them to chase. If he got into a lot of fastball situations, it was going to be a short night.
Ball 1 on Ryan Howard. He had 279 last year for Philadelphia with 45 home runs. He drove in 141, also added 37 doubles. There's something that may catch you by surprise. You know, in Howard's career, he's hit more home runs on the road than at home. 0-2.
That's kind of shocking.
Or, excuse me, 1-1, I should say.
Considering that ballpark at Philadelphia, people talk about Coors Field and all this, and Philadelphia, to me, plays as small as any ballpark in all of baseball.
Well, down both lines, it's ridiculous how fast the ball flies. Here's something interesting. 06 to right now, present. Most home runs hit, Howard, 203. Second, Pujols, 172. Dunn, 164. Prince Fielder, 162. And A-Rod, 157. Struck out. The strikeout of Ryan Howard, the second time for him in the ballgame.
Smith's got 5 punch-outs in 2 2/3. That'll bring up Jason Worth.
Well, what he has is good downward plane tonight. From the side angle, you can see the ball really going top to bottom, and the 2 really bad swings we've seen now from Utley and that one on the Hyundai cam from Ryan Howard just shows you how out front they are.
You know, amazing, on that last replay we just saw the ball. When his bat had reached the hitting area, the ball was still 3 feet out in front of home plate. You know, watch how far. Look right here. You're going to see the ball appear. Now his bat's in the hitting zone right now, and here's the ball all the way out here. That's a beautiful job of pitching when you do that.
Look what he did to Worth. I mean, he's throwing guys about 50% changeups.
You know what he's throwing? He's throwing like he did in spring training when he needed to make a baseball team. And he's trying to make an impression here against a very, very good baseball team.
Well, he's trying to stay in the rotation is what he's doing. 1 ball, 1 strike on Worth. Outside, 2-1.
You know, we'll see a guy on Wednesday in Jamie Moyer that might throw more changeups than that, and there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes throwing below the hitting speed is okay.
Jeff, that's his fastball. I can say that because he was a teammate a long time ago.
He was a teammate of mine 3 times.
Worth had 2 Reggie swings there, dropping to his back knee. Last guy I saw do that's Andrew Jones. Spiked that changeup, 3-2.
Ouch. Miguel Olivo. That one hit. That didn't get any leather, any wristband, anything. He's hopping around a little bit. Try to get some feeling back in the last 2 or 3 digits of his left hand.
Yeah, we'll dust off the plate.
Ask some new baseballs. Everything okay? How you feel? I'm good. Let's go.
2 outs, nobody on for Philadelphia in a 1-1 ball game. 3 hits apiece. 3-2 on Jason Worth. Real close.
Pretty good pitch.
Yeah, Worth aboard via a walk for the 2nd time in the game. That'll bring up Raul Ibanez. Well, here's your chance to win a green pack. That's 2 Rockies tickets to the game on Sunday, May 16th against the Nationals. Text FSNRM followed by a space in your name to 95323 to enter to win and receive Rockies updates from FSN Rocky Mountain as well. Ibanez struck out swinging his first time. Worth a threat to steal, and he's also a threat to be picked off by Greg Smith.
That's why Jason was looking back at Davey Lopes, because the scouting report they talked about, yeah, this guy picked off 16 one year. Pretty good move.
Lopes goes, why don't we just hit the runs and move guys over by swinging the bat? We don't necessarily need to have you try to steal a base here. There's some guys you just give into. You don't try to force that issue on people.
Unless you just flat out guess and go first movement, and with 2 outs, and we're going to take a chance.
A strike on Ibanez. Worth a couple of stolen bases this year.
Last year he stole 20 and was caught only 3 times. That's the thing about the Phillies. The Phillies hit the ball over the wall. They led the National League in runs scored last year. They also were one of the top 2 teams in the National League in swiping bases. And they did it at a high percentage. This is in the air to center. Easy play for Dexter Fowler. Good strong inning for Greg Smith as he punched out Utley and Howard. Sets bottom of the 3rd. Rockies will at the top of the order. This date in history is brought to you by Dex One Marketing Solutions Business Results. May the 10th, 1993, Armando Reynoso became the first Colorado Rockies pitcher to hit a home run. He had a complete game as well in the 7-4 victory over San Francisco. He went on and hit another home run later on in the year. He finished his career with 3 bombs. Armando Reynoso. Boy, he'd battle you, wouldn't he, George?
Yes, he would. Man, would he ever battle.
Kyle Kendrick gave up a hit to Seth Smith in the bottom of the first. Smith would come around on a Jason Giambi line single to right. Catches the inside corner. It has been, however, Doug just reminded us, 6 years and 2 days since the last time a Rockies pitcher went deep. Jason Jennings against Ramon Ortiz. Back. Is that right, Doug? Am I reading your handwriting right? Was it against Ramon Ortiz? One and 2 on Smith. Outside, 2-2. Seth starting to get in a good groove. He was 4 for 11 in the Dodgers series. And this ball is hit well right center field. Long run for Jason Worth. Can't get. And Seth Smith has a double to go with his single. Leadoff two-bagger for Smith in a 1-1 ball game in the third.
Well, you may not have the speed at the top of the order, but you have the ability to drive the ball into the gap and the ability to drive in some runs in that top spot with Seth Smith there. Crowds the plate, gets the sinker down and in and just turns on it. That front foot, watch his front foot clean out on the Hyundai cam and allow his hands to get to the inside fastball and drive it out of the reach of Jason Worth in right field for a leadoff double.
And Dexter will try to move him along. He takes a strike. Fowler had a sac bunt his first time up. And you know what? A bunt here, Huey, for a base hit isn't a bad play.
Not at all. Last time, the only problem he had, he just hit it a little too hard instead of getting it, try to get it in the last inch of the bat. That wasn't a real good attempt right there. I mean, you're trying to hook the ball. If anything, if you're going to foul it off, you want to foul it off to the pole side.
Dexter's in a hole 0-2. Tulowitzki's not going to play tonight, so Dexter's the only player, will be at the end of the night, the only player to appear in all 32 games this year. Tulowitzki, a strained quad. It's the opposite leg from the one he damaged a couple years ago. And you know what? He did a good job there, didn't he? He hooked it. So Fowler behind in the count, made sure he got the ball to the right side, and now Seth Smith on a fly ball can come home.
Everybody's going to come over here to the dugout and give him high fives, including Jim Tracy. I mean, he hopped right up, slapped his hands together, and said, "Atta boy," because that was a nice at bat after falling behind 0-2. Just to hook the ball, get it, another runner into scoring position.
Well, the guy that really appreciates it is Brad Hopp.
Yeah.
Brad caught looking his first time up. Let's take a look at the Amica hit zone on Hopp. Well, anything down, he is scorched. 500, 600, and down and away at a 500 clip.
He can get his arms extended down there.
He also is not afraid to hit the ball to left field.
Yeah, that's what was impressive for me early before he got hurt. The 2 home runs that he hit to left field in the same game. He just went opposite field and lifted the baseball pretty well.
Again, because we haven't seen Brad in 15 days. Noticeable difference in his approach at the plate, just as his mechanics from
most of his career. There's not the big leg lift, and there's not really the drop of the hands that we had seen in the past, Huey.
Well, those two things kind of work together. The higher your leg kick, the more your hands have to drop to get into position to get back up to that launching position we talk about. So lower leg kick, hands don't have to do as much. Cuts down on the big slumps, the really high highs and then the low lows.
Giambi on deck, 3-1 for Hop. And not close. Ball 4. So that'll bring up Giambi. Take a look at another Colorado Lottery replay. Jason Giambi didn't waste any time. First delivery from Kendrick, and he smoked it to right field, bringing home Seth Smith to tie up the ball game at 1. And from now until June 30th, replay any of your non-winning scratch tickets. Enter your tickets at coloradolottery.com. It's in there for a strike.
What a lot of pitchers will try to do with a veteran guy like Giambi that has struggled, they feel as if they're cheating on the fastball. So what you try to do is backdoor sliders, sinker down and away, because they're going so quick. What I mean by cheating, they're starting to bat so quick to get to the baseball. They stay away from that inner half of the plate because that obviously is going to help a cheater. The guy that's going to pull the baseball.
Yeah, he jumped on that first pitch, guys, and I like that he's tracked 3 pitches. I think, Jeff, doesn't it help you get out of a slump?
And the more pitches you see, the more comfortable you feel getting into that box. And now all of a sudden, when you start to do that, you lay off some pitches that are on the corner just off that are called ball. Now all of a sudden you're in your count 3-1. The one thing we've learned from Jason in the short time he's been here, he really doesn't expand the strike zone either. So, I mean, he's not afraid to go ahead and take a walk to leave it up to Melvin Moore if the pitch isn't good.
This will get a run home. Here's Victorino. Here comes Smith. And the Rockies take a 2-1 lead. And Jason Giambi in the cleanup role has both RBIs tonight.
Great to see that for Giambi. I know his teammates are happy. See that with the high fives going on in the dugout. Professional at bat. Victorino's a guy that does not throw really well in center field, so he felt confident if he could get it deep enough there. And he didn't get a very good read on the baseball, you would have a chance. Yeah, he has to make the sprint in on the ball. Then the exchange wasn't very good. The hesitation to throw in.
Let's not forget to go back and remind that at bat at Dexter Fowler. I mean, sometimes that kind of gets lost, but doesn't get lost on your teammates.
Melvin Mora. Their bouncer up the middle that was cut off and turned into a force out his first time. Giambi, Don Baylor visiting.
Oh, here you're talking about working at bats and getting into hitters' counts. Giambi's walked 7 times in his career, more than 100 times in a season.
Yeah, you just think of him as pull happy, trying to hit home runs type of guy. But remember, he came up in the Oakland A's system where they pride themselves on base percentage and all that other stuff.
And also, when you go back to his collegiate days at Long Beach State, I know that's a long way back, but Giambi was very similar to Todd Helton. You know, when he was at Tennessee early in his career, he hit the ball the other way. He was a singles-doubles guy.
And then he learned to pull once he got a little bit older, starting to use that wood bat, understanding where the barrel has to go. And then he was able to hook it.
1-2 on Mora. By the way, the RBI, the last RBI for Giambi, his 1,333rd of his career. And to further underscore the point we're making, Giambi's a lifetime 282 hitter. So this isn't Dave Kingman, who hit a lot of home runs and batted 220. With all due respect to Dave Kingman. This is a flare to short right. This could be a problem. Nope. Utley went and got it. In the inning, a leadoff double by Seth Smith, and the Rockies do a nice job of situational hitting, and they take a 2-1 lead. Safelite.com. In the top of the fourth inning, the Phils will have Carlos Ruiz, Wilson Valdez, and Kyle Kendrick, or in other words, the bottom third of their lineup. How you been, George? I haven't seen you in 10 days.
Bottom third, I've been wonderful, actually. Well, other than
I've talked to
you. It bothered me a little bit.
Yeah. How many stitches did you get?
10. I wasn't very happy. I was a pretty ugly guy for about an hour.
Yeah, you shared that with me that day.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Ruiz had a base hit his first time up, and he takes strike one. You know, if Jimmy Rollins, George, is in their lineup, I want to point something out, Jeff Hughes. If Rollins is healthy, Rollins been an all-star, Victorino's been an all-star, Polanco's been an all-star, Utley's been an all-star, Howard's been an all-star, Wirth's been an all-star, Ibanez's been an all-star. And Ruiz may be an all-star this year if he keeps hitting above 330, Jeff.
All right.
He's the only guy who hasn't been.
Yeah, and so, well, the good thing for him, though, is when they go out to dinner, he doesn't have to buy. Okay, because you guys are the all-stars. I'm not. But you're right, Drew. If he continues to do what he's going to do, and Charlie's going to have a pick or two, then he might be able to throw Ruiz on there.
Who was it, Drew? It was Bob Brindley. Took 7 guys with Arizona. Remember that?
It's a double play ball. Yes, I do remember that.
Taylor made double play.
That was very nice. 6-4-3, 2 outs, nobody on. Kyle Kendrick coming up. Today's Fast Cash Sideline Report brought to you by Fast Cash Gold Centers, where you'll always get 40% more for your gold. Once again, here is Alana Rizzo.
All right, Drew, thanks very much. Time for unwritten rule number 4. A reminder that this came from Yahoo Sports. Jason Turbo was the author of this. It's the code, the 10 unwritten rules in baseball that you may not know. Number 4 for me is don't stand in the cutout, the dirt cutout by home plate while a pitcher is warming up. We already know you're not supposed to run over the mound, as Dallas Braden expressed to Alex Rodriguez, but you're not supposed to be in that cutout either while the pitcher is warming up, unless you're actually in the box, actually getting ready to hit. Now, George, you might be able to expand on this a little bit more, but it's out of courtesy for the pitcher as he's warming up. Basically, that's what the on-deck circle is for. Just stay out of that box until you're going in to hit, guys.
I would agree 1,000%. That's why they put the circle over there. Don't come up and stand around home plate.
The interesting thing is, Jeff, nobody stands in the on-deck circle.
No, they don't, because it's so far away. We've seen Todd Helton kind of creep his way up there when he's getting ready to do it. What a pitch from Smith to get the strike 3, too.
You know, Smith's been very good. Let's give him his due.
Yes.
He gave up that run in the first inning. He has 6 punch-outs in 4, and he's got his club in front 2-1. Philadelphia won with Jeff Houston, George Frazier, and Alana Rizzo. I'm Drew Goodman. Let's take a look at our AT&T trivia question of the night. There's an A's fan in the house. Did he get lost? Which 4 franchises have multiple perfect games? Dallas Braden throwing the perfecto yesterday for the Oakland A's. You know, Dallas Braden, in his perfect game yesterday, George, threw 109 pitches. How many pitches do you think is the most ever thrown in a perfect game? Think about that one. Ian Stewart, Miguel Olivo, Clint Barmes. Huey, you got an idea?
Oh, well, I have an idea. Yeah. Want me to tell you what it is?
That would be nice.
Okay,
Sure.
150.
For a perfect game.
For a perfect game.
That's a lot of pitches.
That's with the only 3 we don't know. There were no pitch counts when Lee Richmond, John Ward in 1880 twirled theirs.
That's what I'm saying. You never know. You never know.
You're right.
Okay.
Cy Young in 1904, we don't know. But everybody since we do.
But I will say that Eddie Josh in 1908 only threw 74.
And that's the lowest on record. David Wells, Boomer, threw 120. And it's interesting because that's the highest. And of course, Ubaldo threw 128 in his no-hitter a few weeks ago. This ball is crushed to center field. Victorino's going to play chase. Ian Stewart will stop at second with a double. So the Rockies in back-to-back innings have leadoff doubles. 5th two-bagger this year for Ian Stewart.
Well, the 4th strike zone, Sippy tried to work this fastball down and away, yet it stayed out front. And you'll see on this Hyundai Cam shot now, watch where contact is made with the baseball. Foot up, foot down, hand starts to stride to the baseball, and right smack in the middle of the hitting zone. Pretty job.
Doesn't get any better than that swing.
That was great camera work, too. I love that shot from the side where you see the actual contact to the bat.
You know, they have ways of testing everything, as we all know these days, and they can test bat speed, and I gotta believe Ian Stewart's right near the top of the charts for the Rockies. Miguel Olivo out front a little bit. It's 0-1.
Well, Miguel has to have a productive at bat here. Drive the ball to the right side, right center field. Don't pull off it. He's going to try to run that sinker inside on you. to get you to roll over so you can't advance the runner out at second base. Maybe something soft as well. Changeup.
The book on Miguel's always been throw the slider to him. 1-1. Olivo, huge disparity, at least in the early going. He's hitting .382 at home, just .122 out on the road. Ball and 2 strikes. He's back in that slider count. Of course, that was a slider he just swung at.
It looked almost like a backup slider, though. It looked like it was in on his hands. Didn't have the good tilt going away at all. Didn't finish it.
And a line drive to third. Polanco gloves it.
We'll upgrade your next game experience in the newly renovated Mountain Ranch Club here at the ballpark. Great way to spend it. 303 Rockies for more information. How about that? The windows are open. What a pleasant night at the yard. The people up there are having a good time.
We got to get up there, George. That looks like a blast. TV monitors outside now. Pretty way to watch the ball game. Here's Barmes.
Another great experience.
Barmes hits it high and deep left center field. Did he get it? Oh, the catch is made somehow by Ibanez.
Is that an ugly route or what? I don't know if the sky, Jeff, you're down here looking up. I mean, is it a bad sky to track baseballs with?
Yeah, it is, because you have some clouds that are trying to filter some of the sunlight, a little bit of everything going on. And he takes off and keeps running. There is a little bit of wind. If you notice where the flags are blowing, is blowing in from left center field, and that ball just held up just enough. And there's this guy we're talking about. Once it gets up high enough, you kind of lose that ball just for a brief second.
Well, Greg Smith has a chance to help himself out. He had a comebacker his first time. 2 outs. Stewart at second, and he's got a ground ball to second here. Well, the Rockies waste the leadoff double by Ian Stewart, but they have the lead 2-1 as we move on to the 5th. And by Hyundai. Hyundai was just named the most fuel-efficient car maker in America. Visit your Colorado Hyundai dealers today. Two to one, the Rockies leading as we go to the 5th inning. And it'll be the top of the order for the Phillies. It'll be Shane Victorino Placido Polanco and Chase Utley. Victorino a triple and a run scored in the first, and then he walked in the second. The Flying Hawaiian from Maui makes his home now in Las Vegas.
A lot of players go to Vegas in the wintertime. Nice golf, good temperature, I guess.
And a guy at first base for the Rockies. Jason Giambi makes his off-season home there. Greg Maddux makes his home in Las Vegas.
Always has.
No state income tax.
I knew you'd warm to
Why do you have to go there with that?
Well, I'm just saying. It's just a statement. I wouldn't say.
Well, they don't have it in Texas either.
I know. That's why a lot of guys live there.
Well, here's
Florida.
some famous natives of the 50th state. Charlie Huff. Mike Lum. Mike Lum was a good left-handed hitter. I didn't know Charlie Huff was from Hawaii.
I didn't know he was from Hawaii.
How about El Cid? Sid Fernandez. He didn't play as many games. He wasn't a position player. Good pitcher, though. Here's the 2-1, and it's pulled foul. Where he throws that changeup, and everybody's been way out front.
Good arm action, good deception with it.
I like the point you made earlier, George, where it's kind of like the Greg Smith we saw during spring training. Because he has that same arm action. He's not slowing his body down to throw it.
There's no reason to do anything different than you did in spring training when you threw 25 innings. You didn't walk anybody. Had the best spring of any pitcher the Rockies had in a rotation or fighting for a rotation job. So there's not any reason to go out and try to create something new. Important inning, big inning. Top of the order. You have their speed, you have their power you're going to deal with. He's been able to handle it so far.
Victorino reached the big leagues in 2003 with San Diego. No, that's fouled off.
Couple fastballs. You have him set up for the changeup, and Victorino's also been shaking his left hand a little bit, like you heard it on a swing a couple pitches ago. Get him to try to reach for something down.
Fouls this off. You know, I think it was a couple weeks ago, guys, we were talking about Rule 5 selections. Johan Santana, currently one of the biggest names to be a Rule 5
Dan Uggla
guy. Dan Uggla,
Big Papi.
Florida, was in town. Big Papi, yeah. You know what? Shane Victorino was a Rule 5.
Good scouting.
And he's filling up the Ford strike zone. Trying to keep Victorino off base in a one-run ball game. The Rockies have been a lot of tight affairs. Yesterday they fell 2-0 in LA. 3-2. Loses Victorino.
You know what? And again, it's a walk, but all the balls he fouled off, good pitches. Jim Tracy, I mean, you get frustrated because here you are in a 2-1 ball game a little bit, and you walk a guy in the fifth inning, particularly when you're this part of their lineup. Victorino fouled off, 4 or 5 really nasty pitches to keep the bat alive, and he just couldn't finish it off. A very wide and high fastball and a break a ball in the dirt.
Now Polanco.
Polanco, a great hit and run guy. He probably, to me, is one of the top 2 guys, 1 or 2 guys hitting behind a runner, hitting into holes.
I think he's the best 2-hole hitter in baseball. And there's a guy that's coming on that to me is very similar, and he plays in Atlanta. We saw him earlier this year, Martin Prado.
Sure, because what makes him unique, unlike a David Eckstein, is these guys have some pop, too. Now, David will throw an occasional home run out there, but not like those two guys.
Tough to strike out. Pierre's always on that list. Polanco, Eckstein, they're on it every year. Kendall's been on that list a lot. Line drive that's going to drop in front of Brad Hawk. Went the other way.
That was the swing you're talking about. Just a very good inside-out swing. Not to try to do a whole lot with it.
That's knowing who you are, too, Georgia. You got Utley and Howard and Worth and Ibanez behind him. Just get on, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a slider inside. It's going to break into him, and it has a little bit of a downward plane to it. Watch his hands drop really close and inside his body, and just opposite field swing. Just didn't try to do anything special. Just did his job.
That's why it's so tough to keep this Philadelphia Phillies team with a low number when they typically get 4 in the top of the order, 5 looks at you.
Well, the hard part is now he's just sitting there staring at all this power, regardless of who's on the mound. Watch Brad Penny in that start that he had, and he's been pitching very well. 4 shutout innings, and all of a sudden a 2-run home run by Victorino. Polanco has a 2-run home run, and then he loses the ball game 4-0. But the point is they got to pitch to hit in crucial situations, just like what you're in right now.
Let's take a look at the Amica hit zone on Chase Utley.
Well, it's pretty good.
778.
Yeah. Stay out of the middle of the plate if you're smart.
That's a good idea.
Big red, the thing that's flashing right in the middle of 778.
He had 429 in the playoffs against the Rockies last year. And then in the World Series, he hit 5 home runs against the Yankees. Remember that? I mean, every night he hit a big fly. 5 home runs.
His hands are unbelievable. Short swing. His hands are so quick.
But, you know, the thing gets me, the pitches that he hits out.
Uh-oh.
Well, you don't think so?
I don't think so.
You're right. Fowler got it right in front of the wall. Moving from second to third is Victorino. He didn't miss it by much.
I was getting ready to say, let's not have do-overs. Because I really thought that ball had a lot of carry. And the flags right now, not a lot of wind in the ballpark.
It just didn't sound crisp down here at the field level. It looked like it might have the distance, and it was very, very high, but it just didn't really sound like he clipped it all that well. But to his credit, he's still able to get it 374 feet out there.
Ryan Howard's been up twice against Greg Smith, and Smith has struck him out twice. First and third, Rockies up 2-1. And a double play ball. There's one. Oh, man. And out there at second, as the ball was, the second base umpire, Jerry Crawford, was indicating that the ball was lost when Moore was taken out of his glove. That's a huge double play not turned.
Yeah, that double play has to get turned. Melvin Moore did not get it out. Then he continues to get flipped by Polanco. That's a play that has to be made. Perfect feed from Barmes. I mean, it's right there, belt high. As he started to make the exchange, he just dropped the baseball.
And that's what I mean by, we've talked about it on the air a bunch, and Jim Tracy would agree. The Rockies have not played clean baseball on a consistent level. They haven't gone, 10 straight ball games where, everything looks good. That's down the line. Third ball, Jason Worth. Ryan Howard's going to go to third, and now he's going to get a green light as Smith had trouble with it in the outfield. And now the Rockies trail. They should be in the dugout leading 2-1. Instead, they trail Philadelphia. Bad defense, and Philadelphia has the lead.
tried to barehand the baseball off of the wall. Then again, I know he's trying to get rid of the ball in a hurry, but you'll get a good shot of it on the Ford strike zone. Watch this. Slider down and in, just hooks it. Left field, 76 miles an hour. Going to shoot it right by Ian Stewart in fair territory. Now watch when it ricochets off. Smith's going to come over and try to barehand the baseball. When he did, the ball seemed to have spin off of his finger. That allowed Ryan Howard to come around and score and give the Phillies a 3-2 lead.
Now, 2 plays that weren't made. First of all, that double play, as you mentioned, Drew, should be out of the inning. You have a double with an error on Seth Smith. That ball's coming off the wall. You have to use your glove.
Now you got to get Ibanez or you're down a couple of runs. Strike one on Raul. No RBI, obviously. You know, that was an easy double play ball also, in that you had Howard running. Yeah, the ball was hit not super hard, but with enough authority that Mora had all day really just pull it out of his glove and throw it to Giambi, and he's going to have the double play.
Yeah, just use the bag as a blocker for you, even with Polanco coming into you. With Howard, all you have to do is catch it, get rid of it, and you're going to have him by 5 steps. Well, let's not forget, let's go back to last inning, too. Leadoff double, you don't score that run. So with everything that's happened this inning, it still could be tied 3-3, but you weren't able to score that run offensively in your half of the inning.
You don't need to give Charlie Manuel's bunch any gifts. They're plenty good enough on their own. 2-2 on Ibanez. And now you have Greg Smith, who's pitched tonight better than he has in any start in a Rockies uniform. And now he's forced to throw a bunch of extra pitches.
89 pitches. Right now, this is 90th coming up in the ballgame.
And the Rockies are in game 4 of a stretch of 17 in a row. You want to get length out of the starter as much as you can and stay out of your bullpen. Mora makes the catch in the inning. 2 runs come around, and now the Rockies trail 3-2. Here's Seth Smith, and that's a strike. All right, for the White Sox, Charlie Robertson and Mark Burley. Robertson threw his many moons ago. Addy Joss for Cleveland, and then Len Barker in 1981. This ball down the line, fair ball. Here's Seth Smith running the bases again. And Smith is heading to third. He's going to have himself a triple. Single, double, triple. You know what's coming up later on.
Oh, it could get really good. One mistake a lot of outfielders make at Coors Field, when a ball gets down into this corner, they think they can cut it off. They don't realize once it gets out onto the gravel, it really picks it up. On the sky cam, again, they want that ball on that outside half sinking, and he just shot it by Howard. But when it got down into this corner, that's where Worth came over and said, I'm going to cut this thing off. Nope, you're going to chase it for a while now. It's going to end up back out into the playing field, out in the middle of the field, and you got to make a great throw just to keep him at third.
Dexter Fowler at the plate, a sacrifice and a right side ground ball that moved Smith in the third inning. Pitch called to strike. Very quickly to finish our AT&T trivia question, the Yankees have 3 perfect games. Don Larsen's, of course, in the World Series of 1956. David Wells tossed one in 98. The next year, David Cohn threw one. 1-1. Kyle Kendrick working to Dexter Fowler. The Rockies with Smith at third, nobody out. Chance to tie it up. One and two. This is one of those situations again where however you have to do it, Jim Tracy said, shortening up, spreading out, you got to get the ball in play here.
A lot of breaking balls. And I think that's what Dexter's going to see for a while. He's going to see a lot of curveballs, and Jim Tracy understands that, but you hope they make a mistake and hang some.
Well, the good thing is you have the middle of the part of your field playing back. It's shortened second.
Way inside 3-2. Just showed you a shot of the cloud cover overhead. I think most of that is moved beyond the stadium. I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Well, it looks like it from down here out west. It looks pretty clear.
3-2 on Fowler. Good eye by Dexter. And now you have great speed at first. Brad Hop coming up. And there's nobody out. It's the second walk allowed by Kyle Kendrick.
Dexter battling back from a 1-2 count to work that walk.
First game back for Brad Hop, just came off the disabled list late this afternoon. 0 for 1 and a walk. Fowler draws a throw.
Keep an eye on Kendrick's time to the plate. He was pretty quick earlier, George.
Was he? I mean,
yeah.
I used to be pretty slow. Had a little higher.
That's a balk.
That is a balk. Everybody's going to move up. Jeff Houston on the first. You got it. And then Jerry Crawford said it.
He heard me.
Good job, Hugh. That's why he placed you down there, closer to the field.
That's right. Well, he just had a little stumble when he started to come up, and he tried to regather himself. And fortunately, Jerry Crawford out at second base caught that because he was right behind him, right here, a little bobble, and then he stopped.
He tried to fake his way through and it wasn't going to work.
So Fowler at second, nobody out, and He dives back in on the bluff. 3-3 ball game.
Did you see Jerry Crawford duck? Why was he ducking? He's not throwing it to him. He ducked. Jerry, how can you make the call if you duck?
He wasn't worried about the call at that point. And the wind has really picked up all of a sudden.
It has. It's
ouch. It has kind of changed your direction. The wind has.
Well, the clouds were kind of over center field. Now all of a sudden it kind of moved over to the third base line. Beautiful there.
Rockies have 3 runs. Leadoff guy's job is to get on base, score runs. Seth Smith is leading off tonight. He has scored all 3 runs. Single, double, triple for Smith. He also has led off in every inning that he's hit. One and one on Hop. And a base hit left center field. Rockies will take the lead. Here comes Dexter Fowler to the house. Welcome back, Brad Hop, RBI number 8. We missed you.
Trying to minimize what he would do with it if he got a power type pitch. They went sinker away and they just let him take it opposite field. Brad didn't try to do a whole lot with it, just stayed on top and drove it. That hand stayed behind the baseball, out over the reach of the shortstop and out into center field with Victorino, and then here comes Fowler in to score. Well, the right-hander, Herndon, starting to warm up for the Philadelphia Phillies. They have Lidge back in the closer's role. J.C. Romero's the only left-hander they have in their bullpen.
Here's Giambi. A couple RBIs tonight for Giambi. High and deep and foul. But it took a majestic flight.
It was pretty. You can just tell from the first couple of at-bats Jason had tonight that he's starting to get a little bit of feel back into that swing and feel in the batter's box.
Down the line, Howard comes up with it, and the return throw is in time. So it'll be a 3-6-3 double play.
That ball was hit hard, though.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to go down as a double play, but that ball, if Ryan Howard wasn't standing right there, it's a base hit.
Holding the runner on, easy to step off, and then you've got it. 2 hop right at him. Snap throw into second base, and then on to first base to get Giambi.
Melvin Moore at the plate. Ground ball to short. And a flare to short right that was handled nicely by Chase Utley. 0-1 on Melvin. Rockies gave up the lead in the top of the 5th, and they've got it back here at the bottom of the 5th, 4-3. Center field, this will drop for a base hit. That'll give Ian Stewart another shot against Kyle Kendrick.
Well, you get a veteran hitter like Moore up at the plate, you just can't go slider, slider, slider. You make a mistake, he's going to adjust to it, and it's exactly what he did.
Stewart, his last time up, hit a double over the head of Shane Victorino in center. That's a strike. Yeah, look at the Rockies' record, fellas. 15 and 16 through 31 games. They've had injuries, which are part of sport. And you're missing De La Rosa. George talked about that earlier.
Very inconsistent defense.
And their defense has not played nearly up to their capabilities. Tulowitzki's going to be down a few days. Gonzalez was a few days earlier. He's gone for a couple of days, attending a funeral in Venezuela. His uncle passed away. And nobody has really gotten hot yet in this lineup. I mean, they have some guys that can carry you for a week or two. I mean, the guy at the plate, remember what he did last year when the Rockies turned their season around, that 11-game winning streak? He was the National League Player of the Week. The guy, Hop can carry you.
Yeah, we missed Hop for 2 weeks, too.
Sure.
Drop his name into that mix of those guys that were gone. 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, Tulowitzki can carry you. Yep. I mean, Gonzalez. This ball is pulled to Utley. Comes up with it. That'll be all for the Rockies in the 5th. But they get a couple of runs. Seth Smith got it started with a triple. Brad Hoffman on. Words would hit one down the third base line. Howard running, and Seth Smith had trouble picking up the baseball in the left field corner. That allowed Howard, who initially was going to stop at third, to score. But the Rockies got a leadoff triple from Smith, and then a balk by Kyle Kendrick after a walk to Fowler. And then Brad Hoff would drive in Dexter with a single to center field. 4-3 Colorado. All of that brought to you by Cooney Lexus, where luxury has an address. Go see Cooney Lexus on Broadway in Littleton. Greg Smith to Carlos Ruiz. Ruiz a couple of singles in the ball game. Hitting the 250 range last year, but he's got the average above 330 here in the early going. With 2 hits tonight, it's up to 342. Some of the impressive numbers a year ago for Philadelphia offensively. The Rockies hit for a higher average, 261, than Philadelphia's 258. The Rockies were second in runs scored to Philadelphia last year. Philadelphia scored 820, the Rockies 804. The Phillies led the league in home runs by a ton. They were the only team to hit more than 200. They hit 224. The Rockies hit 190. And then I alluded to this stat earlier. They stole 119 bases, did the Phillies. Rockies were good too. They stole 106. The leading team in terms of stolen bases last year were the New York Mets. They stole 122. But they were caught 16 more times. 3 more stolen bases, but 16 more times were they caught trying to steal.
Well, the stolen bases goes back to the point I made earlier in the broadcast. A lot of that has to go to Davey Lopes, because he's the one that's in charge of the base running for the Phillies.
Yeah, we see teams from time to time that can really slug, but to have the combination of sluggers, this is pulled foul, and athletic guys all up and down your lineup.
I think that's a good point too. They're not just, they're obviously very good baseball players, but they're smart and athletic.
There's a 2-2 again, and this is hit high and deep to left field. This is going to tie things up. Carlos Ruiz with his second home run of the year. It is 4-4.
And nobody feels worse right now than Greg Smith after his club just gave him a 4-3 lead. Make a mistake with a fastball at 86 miles an hour up in the strike zone to the bottom half of their lineup. Ruiz has a base hit earlier today. A couple of base hits, 2 singles. You're going to see where this pitch is. Out over the middle of the plate. Always watch your catcher's glove to see how much of a miss it was where they wanted the pitch. Somebody's happy. For a Phillies fan in left field. Man, oh man.
Wilson Valdez takes ball 1. Valdez called to the big leagues when Jimmy Rollins went down with a calf injury. Jimmy's been out 3 weeks already. He's going to be out a while longer. I was talking to Charlie Manuel. You know, Madsen, who was closing for them.
Chair won that battle, didn't he?
Yeah, Ryan Madsen was upset, giving up some runs late in the ball game a little more than a week ago, and he kicked the chair. And George, he had the metal toe on because it was on his drive leg as a pitcher.
Well, they're actually plastic, but yeah.
I mean, it was a hard thing, and he broke his toe so badly they had to put pins in it. He was placed on the 60-day DL, and Charlie Manuel said, I'm not positive we'll get him back at all this year.
Well, you think about that. That's on his right foot where he's going to be pushing off the whole time, and for those screws, I can't even imagine, Jeff. That's got to be so uncomfortable.
You know what? Unfortunately, I had somebody slide into me at second base and break my big toe, where I had to have a couple screws, pins put in there, and it's not fun.
3-2, ground ball to third. Stewart throws out Valdez by a step. Time for tonight's Quest high-speed pitch. Kyle Kendricks hit 91. Greg Smith has touched 89. That's brought to you by Quest, the high-speed internet provider of the Colorado Rockies. 1 out. Kendrick will hit for himself here in the 6th inning.
Well, if you haven't taken a tour of this beautiful ballpark, you need to do so. You can take some of the behind the scenes of Coors Field. Group and individual tickets, they are available even in the off season. Come by and see this wonderful facility. 303 Rockies.
You know it's still intact is this run for the Phillies. 2 hitters ballparks without giving up home runs.
That is amazing. It really is. They came into this game 56 innings without giving up a home run. So sitting at 61 innings right now. Doug has been scrambling for 3 innings to find the answer of the longest inning streak without giving up a home run.
You know, it was just the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals, the last couple of teams, George, at Citizens Bank Park, which relinquishes a great number of home runs. And Atlanta and St. Louis have some guys in their lineup who can hit it over the wall.
Yeah, you got a bunch of guys. Think about the Cardinals when you look at it. Pujols, Holiday, Ludwig, 3 guys that hit a lot of home runs.
Kobe Rasmus.
Yep, a lot of power. Tribute to their ball club. And again, what effect, when you make a trade for a guy, you know he's going to win baseball games with Roy Halladay. You'll see him tomorrow against the Rockies. What effect does he have against the rest of the team?
This could be a problem if it's fair. It is a foul ball.
And what I mean by that is, what effect does he have on Kendrick? What effect does he have on Hamels? What effect does he have on other pitchers? And how his approach and what he does.
Well, I think that same thing's going on here right now, though, with Ubaldo and Chacin. The way he's been able to kind of follow Ubaldo and see how he prepares in between ball games, everything that goes along with it. Now, I know Roy's been doing it a lot longer, but still, it's nice when you have a number one ace, a stopper, a guy that goes out there and can do that, but also you have a young guy that can kind of follow him like a puppy dog.
0-2 count on Shane Victorino. I asked Charlie Manuel kind of what we're discussing. I said, what of Roy Halladay have you learned that you didn't know from afar, having him in your clubhouse? And he said his work ethic's unbelievable. He said he was at the spring training facility 4:30, 4:45 in the morning every day. He said he's never at his locker. He's running, he's lifting, he's watching video. And to your guys' point, that's going to rub off on everybody else. If arguably the best pitcher in baseball is doing that.
Yep. There was a great article in Sports Illustrated about a month ago on Roy. People need to read that because it was pretty special.
Yeah, he had some doubt. Minor leagues. He thought about packing it up and moving on with his life when he hit a little bit of a pothole during his minor league career.
Well, he came all the way to the big leagues and then went back and started all over again in A-ball and worked his way back to the big leagues.
One and two on Victorino, a triple and 2 walks, and he's going to reach again.
This could be a triple.
Well, look at him turning it. Man, can he fly?
It's 2 triples.
4th one for him on the year.
You got Polanco and then Utley. I would think that you can never be sure. Trace may give, maybe not. I thought he may give him a shot at Polanco, but he's going to make the move right here.
Well, most of the time, Daly's a 1-inning guy anyway. So you come in and get out of the inning. He's 3rd batter up next inning. He served his purpose to work out. And it's not scared of traffic, that's for sure.
Carlos Ruiz with a home run has tied this ball game at 4. against Greg Smith. So Greg Smith's been removed, and with Placido Polanco coming up, it'll be a very reliable Matt Daly.
Well, you've got to bring in this situation. You see the first batter face deficiency. You would like to see that a little bit higher, but the number that is very good at 9 inherited runners, only 2 have been able to score against him.
This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. So 18 appearances for Matt Daly, 18 appearances in 32 ball games.
Now, the guy that those sidearm typically can throw in an awful lot of ball games, and he's a low 3/4 guy. Sinker, slider. One thing you will get out of Matt Daly, that is the strikes. He will fire it into the zone. If he's going to get beat, you're going to swing the bat. Polanco 3 for 12 with 2 outs for the runner in scoring position.
0-2. Philadelphia coming off a terrific homestand. They went 7-3. They're 9-6 out on the road so far this year. Oh, 2 on Polanco. Whoa, blocked that. Nope, it's going to cost him a run.
Yep, sure is. And again, I'm not sure that the pitch could have been blocked.
Think about it. That's 3 runs tonight that the Rockies have tied a bow around, wrapped up like it's Christmas morning, and tossed in the Philadelphia dugout a run. 3 of them.
Yeah, look where this pitch is. It's very wide of where Olivo is. We'll look on the sky cam to see just how wide this is. He's setting up kind of at middle out as the pitch comes. Drops to his knees and tried to swoop out to it. But again, that slider was well away from Olivo. Made it very difficult to block.
Had a double play that wasn't turned. And then an outfield error on a play on a double by Jason Worth. Howard was going to stop at third. Howard ended up scoring, and then this wild pitch. Good pick up there.
Yeah, 3 out of the last 4 runs, Drew. Other than the home run this inning by Carlos Ruiz.
And now the Rockies trail 5-4. Again, not to be redundant, Philadelphia can put a hurting on you if you play really well. You don't need to hand them any freebies.
Well, let's look on the Hyundai cam to his delivery right now. As you slow down right about here, you see where the arm comes through in this angle to come to the plate. Well, that's why when you throw the changeup a lot of times with that low 3/4 arm angle, you hang on to the ball too long because you're trying to focus to keep the ball down in the zone so much that you're trying to carry and reach to it. But because of that, you end up cutting the baseball. It's so hard in that low 3/4 to throw a changeup unless you try to pronate to the inside a little bit, turn your wrist inside the baseball and try to get the ball to move down and into the right hand.
2-2 on the ground. Nice pickup by Stewart. Long throw. Giambi's got to come up with it, and he does. Nice pickup by Jason Giambi. Good looking play on both ends. The Phillies, though, get 2 in the inning. Ruiz a home run. Shane Victorino a triple. He scored 3 runs tonight. And the Phils lead at 5-4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. up, squared that ball up, drove in a run, then hit a ball to center field, scoring fly ball to drive in the Rockies' second run of the ball game. Third time up, he grounded into a 3-6-3 double play, but he hit it on the button as well. Coors Light freeze can. Well, the Rockies trailed by a run again. They'll have Miguel Olivo against Kyle Kendrick here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Miguel lined out to third his last time up. Rockies went 5-7 in that 12-game stretch inside the National League West. Jim Tracy was talking about the California swing afterward, and he said, first of all, San Diego's not going to go away. He said their pitching's legit. We got a young team. And he said if you're looking for San Diego to all of a sudden hit an iceberg and sink, it's not going to happen. And he was talking about how deep and how talented the starting pitching is, and the back end of most of the bullpens in the National League West, which makes it very difficult to go on a run inside your division. One out. Alana Rizzo has more. Alana?
All right, Drew, thanks very much. I wanted to talk a little bit about pitch count. It's something that we talk about all the time. It's everyone in the stadium is aware of it. Everyone in the stadium is aware of it, you know, and Greg Smith went out of the game with 114 pitches. Right now, Kyle Kendrick is at 90 pitches. So I asked some of the pitchers about it. Does it bother you that it's displayed? Does it bother you that people are so aware of it? And Aaron Cook, who's throwing tomorrow, said, you know what, the first thing I think is it's a way to get the fans involved. Everybody's stats are displayed second by second. He said it's also a way for the organizations to honestly protect their investments. They don't want a guy going out there and throwing way too many pitches and hurting his arm. He said, you know what, for me, with Bob Apodaca, we don't worry about stuff like that. He said, Bob Apodaca takes us out of the game, and Jim Tracy takes us out of the game when he knows that we're tired, not when we should be tired, which I think is the case today with Greg Smith. The pitch count wasn't that high, but it looked like he was losing a bit of his command, but overall a good performance by Smitty, guys.
All right, Alana. 2 balls and a strike on Barmes. Esmil Rogers has come out on deck in the pitcher spot. Matt Daly's due up. Esmil, a converted shortstop. And the Rockies bench is short tonight, really short, because Troy Tulowitzki is unavailable with the quad injury. Carlos Gonzalez is not here. He's on the bereavement list.
Smith started the game.
Smith started the game. You have Helton from the left side, Spilborghs and Phillips, your backup catcher from the right side, and Eric Young, a switch hitter. And it's still a little bit early. He's one of those guys. Almost a collision.
He dropped it.
He did drop that.
He dropped it.
He did not make the catch, Valdez.
No umpire, he's got him safe.
Okay, there you go.
Polanco.
Yeah. He dropped
Barmes
it.
did not Barmes did the smart thing. Stand on the bag. Charlie Manuel's going to come out and argue.
He wants the umpires in there. He wants some help.
Well, there was a collision between Polanco and Valdez, and when they did it,
Now they're saying he's out.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll find out. We're going to run a replay. Now Jim Tracy wants an explanation.
Well, he's just going to ask him how did he make the call. Watch it.
He never had control of that.
He never had control of
He
the
never
baseball.
had control of it. Never goes in his glove, never has control, and is still falling out. That's a bad call.
Reading Jim Tracy's lips, he said, how can you make that call? Everything was right in front of the home plate umpire, Phil Cousin.
But you know, in slow motion, it looks like he caught it from that angle. You got to run it. Is that full? That's real speed right there.
Yeah.
Your attention. Pitch hitting for the Rockies in place of the pitcher daily, number 48, Esmil Rogers.
Here's a pretty good look at it again. Let's slow it down and let's see.
Yeah, but watch the bare hand. Let's see.
even if you say, all right, he never had, he's fumbling it.
He never hit the ground, did he? Did that hit the ground?
I gotta see that again.
It never hit the ground. He caught it with his bare hand. Doesn't look like it did. Look, he got it on the bounce, didn't it? Huh.
Well, I can understand why Phil Cuzzi said it was a drop ball, because in real speed down here on the field, it looked like he didn't have possession of it, and it looked like it hit the ground. He might have got his finger up underneath it there.
Well, either way, we can vote all night long, but it's still an out in the eyes of the 4 guys in blue. Or I should say black, now that they've changed the dress attire.
2-1 on Rogers. 97, now 98 pitches for Kyle Kendrick. Valdez makes it a 1-2-3 inning. Philadelphia 5, Colorado 4. Washington Nationals Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. And the Rockies will have a 7-game road trip. It's kind of a strange one. It's a 3-city 7-game road trip. 2 against the Cubs, 2 against the Astros, 3 in Kansas City as interleague play will begin. Joe Bible is on for the Rockies. It'll be Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Jason Worth in the 7th inning for Philadelphia. Bible signed very late in spring training, re-upped with the Rockies, and he's been terrific so far. The league hitting just 167 against him, and he's retired the leadoff batter, George, all 12 appearances.
Well, that's what you want when a guy comes into the ballgame, regardless of who he's facing, left or right-handers. I've always appreciated the work that Bible did in a Dodger uniform, and then as he came to the Rockies last year. Very confident left-hander. Typically does not give up the long ball. He keeps the ball on the ground.
Oh, 1 on Utley. J.C. Romero is up for Philadelphia.
Well, they're looking at the Rockies lineup. Seth Smith, Dexter Flip right side, and then Brad Hoppins, Yambu. 3 of the 4 are left-handed before you get to Melvin Morris. So they take advantage of their only left-hander to bring him out in the 7th.
You know, George, when you take the Rockies are more left-handed dominant anyhow. That was one of the big storylines last year in the division series because Philadelphia had Cliff Lee, they had Jay Happ, they had Cole Hamel, all those lefty pitchers. Ground ball toward the hole. That's going to get through. A leadoff knock for Utley. And for the first time this year, Beimel does not get the first man. But when you take Troy Tulowitzki out of the Rockies lineup, who's their cleanup hitter, now you are extremely left-handed.
Well, you really are. I think that's the one thing that, you know, again, that you try to correct. You try to do it with Melvin Mora, a right-handed bat. You know, you try to get those guys in here that could give you some punch right-handed.
$30,403 at the ballpark tonight. Big crowd on a Monday night. It's in there for a strike 0-1 on Ryan Howard. And the chance to see the Phillies this year at Coors Field until perhaps October.
Well, you want to get a really good value on your tickets. Look at this ticket. Take the mini plans. They got a 15-game, a 25-game mini plans that you can purchase. It's good for the Red Sox fireworks and some postseason. So take a look at those next time you're looking to buy some of these mini plans. 303 Rockies, or go to ColoradoRockies.com.
And that misses. 2-1. You realize that if Philadelphia fellas go to the World Series again this year, they won it all in 08. They lost to the Yankees last year. If they go to the World Series this year, they'll be the first National League team to make 3 straight World Series since the St. Louis Cardinals of the early 40s, 42, 43, 44. What, the Gas House Gang?
I think so, yeah.
Well, is it all the parity? I mean, in baseball, is it, you know, what's prevented that from happening?
A lot of free agency.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, hey, played in a couple of them myself. You know, you got to be really lucky. And a lot of things got to go your way, particularly the health issue side of things.
This is a bloop to short left, and it's going to drop. For Ryan Howard, as big and as strong as he is, a mishit sandwich to left, and now they're 2 on and nobody out for Jason Worth.
And Beimel, the right-hander's going down in the Rockies bullpen. You look again at this pitch. It's jams Howard. Big guy that stands up on top of the plate, and he just floats it out of the reach of Ian Stewart into short left field.
This is where Jason Worth becomes so valuable for the Phillies, because after you get by Utley and Howard, now you got this big guy to worry about.
He came in hitting .349. He is 1 for 1, a double, and 2 walks. He has seen more pitches per plate appearance than any other hitter in the National League. You saw a ton last year. He's like Todd Helton, very patient. Matt Belisle. Worth has hammered the Rockies. Last 10 ball games against Colorado, .444 average, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs. That's in there. It's 0-2. 6 for his last 14, hitting with runners in scoring position. So he's got just some glowing numbers.
And a lot of the numbers Jim Tracy looks at, 0 for 5 in his career versus Beimel.
We have one more left-handed bat coming up behind him in Ibanez. Werth last year hit .302 against lefties, .256 against righties. 0-2, and he struck him out. Can't tell you how big that was.
Third pitch, typically you don't see Joe Beimel throw this pitch a lot. It's usually fastball slider, but he threw an 80-mile-an-hour changeup. With the changeup, you're going to see Werth just come unglued on the 4th strike zone and just almost break an ankle trying to hit this ball out of the ballpark. All 3 pitches in the strike zone, all 3 leave Werth making a left turn to the dugout.
It's about the 3rd or 4th swing we've seen from Werth tonight where he's gone Reggie, as you mentioned, Drew, where he drops back on that back right leg.
Ibanez a strikeout, fly ball to center, and a pop to second.
Philadelphia tonight with runners in scoring position, 0 for 7. Rockies 2 for 7 in this ball game.
This is more of a meeting of they're changing signs now out between Joe Beimel and Miguel Olivo, and he wants to make sure that Clint Barmas knows what the sign is. He'll be able to relay it to Melvin Mora. Chase Utley's been out there for a batter now, and after that's happened, you see the signs, you understand is it second sign, last sign, first sign, whatever it is. So they want to make sure they mix it up so he doesn't relay the sign to Ibanez.
2 veteran guys. That's the main thing you look at when people start doing those kind of things.
1 ball, 1 strike on Ibanez.
A little different numbers between he and Beimel. He's 2 for 5 against Joe Beimel. Very good fastball hitter. We're left on left a lot of times. The trickery side of things come up where you try to throw the spinning breaking ball out of the strike zone. There it was. It was a hanger, but he got away with it at 72 miles an hour. Enough off the fastball, enough off velocity wise, it could not make the adjustment to it.
Utley at second, Howard at first. 5-4 Philadelphia, 1 out in the 7th. Here's the 1-2 to Ibanez, in the air to center field. Fowler reaches up, makes the catch. Utley is going to tag and go to third. That hit a gust of wind.
Yeah, it had looked like a little carry, you know, as it started to head out there. I know Dexter Fowler, it helps being 6'4" and a long glove, but when that ball was hit, he was able to drop back on it and get a read on it.
Had some of that backspin though too, because he had that swing, that downward swing, where if you hit it just right, then it'll start off low, kind of like a low tee shot that just runs on you.
Well, with Carlos Ruiz coming up, and he's 3 for 3, including a home run tonight. Matt Belisle will be summoned from the Rockies bullpen out in right center field. 5-4 Philadelphia, 2 outs in the 7th. Time for a Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. 6th inning. Greg Smith threw a fastball on 2-2 to Carlos Ruiz, and he smoked it to left center field, his second home run of the year. Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast, that tied up the baseball game. Shane Victorino later in the 6th would triple and come around on a wild pitch. Belisle to Ruiz with runners at first and third. And he was sitting fastball. And he didn't fire at that one. In there for a strike. 13th appearance for Belisle.
Well, typically he just starts an inning. He's only inherited one base runner. He did not score, but the important factor, 83.3% of the time, he has been able to retire the leadoff man. What you want coming out with Utley third, Howard at first. A couple of outs here in the top of the 7th inning.
Ruiz, one of the big reasons Philadelphia 7-2 in the month of May. He's hitting .520. Takes that fastball, and it's 1-2. Utley at third, he singled, moved to third on the fly ball by Ibanez. Ryan Howard had a bloop single. He's at first. See if Belisle can put away Ruiz here. They go away. Fastball came back over the middle of the plate. A little more giddy up on that fastball at 92 from Belisle.
That's part of the reason why Ruiz was beat on that.
Isn't it amazing, Jeff, how many hitters in this situation all of a sudden take slider? Just because he's behind in the count on a 1-2, and that's why you get a lot of called third strikes on a fastball away.
This time they're going slider away.
Good block.
Doesn't have to necessarily be a strike, but it has to be up in the strike zone enough to induce a swing. If they can read out of your hand it's going to be low early, then they just basically take the pitch.
Two. Popped up, playable for Stewart and foul ground. Nice job, Matt Belisle. He gets Carlos Ruiz, who's retired for the first time this evening. And he keeps it a one-run game. Stretch time. Did you know that you could sign up for an in-home energy audit and learn simple ways to save around your house from Xcel Energy? Visit responsiblebynature.com to learn more. And here's our Xcel Energy fun fact for the evening. Colorado pitchers have hit a total of 33 home runs, the most coming from Mike Hampton, who hit 10. Colorado hasn't had a home run by a pitcher, though, since 2004, 6 years and 2 days ago. It's now the longest current streak in the National League. Some candidates. Cook if he runs into one. Jeff Francis when he comes back. J.C. Romero is the lone lefty. He's the lone wolf. The only guy who works out of the bullpen for Philadelphia from the left side. And he'll be asked to throw the 7th inning, George, because Smith and then Hop in the 3rd spot. Giambi beyond that all-hit lefty. Fowler's a switch hitter. He'll bat second.
Well, they also know Tulowitzki can't play tonight. Spilborghs is sitting under Phillips, the backup. So you got one right-hander, then you got Young, the switch hitter. You're not going to do any switching in this situation. You're going to allow these guys to go ahead and hit against him and try to get into J.C. Romero. This is a guy that came off of some arm surgeries, suspension. He's been on the DL. Now he's back pitching again. One of the most effective left-handers for Philadelphia in 07, I thought. It was outstanding.
Yeah. The 7th inning's the Burger King Whopper inning. If Colorado hits a home run during the 7th inning, Burger King will offer a free Whopper with the purchase of a large drink the following day between 4 and 6 at participating restaurants only. Smith is a home run shy of a cycle. Single and a run scored in the 1st. Double and a run scored in the 3rd. Leading off, by the way. Last time up, leading off the 5th. A triple. This replay brought to you by the Colorado Lottery. Right down the first base line. This ball down the line. He would score another run there. From now until June 30th, replay any of your non-winning scratch tickets in a second chance drawing. Enter your tickets at coloradolottery.com. Here's the 0-2. 1-2. Smith owns 4 home runs this year. Hit 15 last year.
Well, the wind has changed directions now. You really feel it down here on the field. It's starting to blow from right to left now.
That's a tough slider right there. Fortunately, it was off the plate.
When he was healthy, he reminded me an awful lot of Feliciano with the New York Mets. He could really lengthen the slider and make it a long slider. He could shorten it up and make it a very tight break slider. So a little better fastball than him. Oh, tough play, too. Short hop. Howard's able to handle it.
You know, those who've watched Ryan Howard this year say he's, you know, with the lost weight, he's got a little better range. His hands are softer.
That was the key on that one, Drew. The hands were softer because that was a hop that you just say, uh-oh. But he got the short hop and he came and got it. This would be a good look from the Hyundai cam, how he had to kind of put his hands out in front. He had his other hand on top and just gave with the baseball.
Polanco half a step inside the bag at 3rd for Fowler. And this ball is off the end of the bat over Jeff Houston's head.
Just a few rows.
Rockies have played the fewest home games in the National League. They're actually tied for the fewest with Atlanta and Milwaukee. Well, this, you want to get them all. Getting them all is unrealistic. Never happened, never will happen. But with Roy Halladay looming tomorrow, I want to find a way tonight. Kyle Kendrick went 6 innings, allowed 4 runs, all of them earned, 8 hits, couple of walks, a strikeout through 99 pitches. 2 balls and a strike on Fowler. Brad Hopp will be next.
Well, you want to come out to the ballgame on May 15th, receive a Great Clips discount coupon. Or to pick up tickets, stop by one of the dugout stores, 1-800-388-ROCK, or go online to ColoradoRockies.com.
Three and 2 on Fowler. Dexter in his last homestand went 10 for 20. He's hitting .361 against left-handed pitching. Here's the 3-2 from Romero. Ball 4. Good at bat by Fowler, and now he's aboard for Brad Hop. That's the thing, Jeff, as Dexter still works out the kinks as a switch hitter. He's a developing offensive player. He's still very young. He's never played a game at AAA, and yet he'll throw out a fair number of walks.
Well, and both these last 2 walks, he's been behind in the count and figured out how to do it.
Brad rips a base hit to right. Fowler will head to third base. First and third, 1 out, and the Rockies have the tying run 90 feet away.
Hop now 2 for 4 against Romero in his career matchups. Took advantage of a first pitch offering and just drove it to right field.
Well, the thing
Giambi 3 for 8. He's at the plate now.
Well, the thing about this one too, George, is the way that Brad had to wait back a little bit because Romero came up and paused and kind of held it there for a second to get a read on Dexter Fowler, and then he finally comes to the plate. And then the Hyundai cam will show how Brad just a little bit of a leg kick, not that big high one, just a step. Those hands go back at the same time as the foot goes forward. And then the extension.
Here's Giambi. He's driven in 2 tonight. You know, I also like the game plan of Brad Hop there, who will generally work counts. Stay out of a slider count and ambush him early.
And that's a good game plan to have because you don't want to get to that hard slider that Romero has. If you're going to get a fastball, it might be the first pitch of the at-bat. Go ahead and take a whack at it.
That's what Giambi was thinking also. Here's the 0-1 to Jason. Good eye, 1 ball, 1 strike. Giambi roped a single in the first inning to right to drive in Seth Smith, and then drove in Smith in the third with a sac fly to center. Last time up, grounded into a 3-6-3, but he hit it right on the button. Hard smash at Ryan Howard.
Just a little perplexed why he threw over there.
Oh, more than I said, you know, not comfortable sometime with the pitch selection you'll pick up. Instead of going to the plate with it, you'll throw over to first base instead of stepping off.
Giambi shatters his back, but this is going to drop. Base hit, top again, as Hop does get the second. Jason Giambi with his 3rd ribby of the night, and we're all even again at 5.
And doesn't have to go very far, just far enough and out of the reach to drive in the run. Come up with it. Tomorrow it'll all look like a line drive in the newspaper, and it's going to force Charlie Manuel to go down to his bullpen. One more look at this fastball, inner half, shatters the bat, but his strength carries this. On the Hyundai cam, you're really going to see how the ball got in on the label of the bat, shatters, it goes flying towards the Rockies dugout. And then it's up to Utley to try to catch up to it. The ball gets down before he's able to get there.
Nice base running from Brad Hop.
Yeah, you know, that's one, Huey, you can't go halfway. You got to go about 3/4 of the way. 5-5. Tonight for the Rockies. David Herndon comes on. The league hitting .435 against him. George, you know it jumps out at me. 20 hits in 10 2/3 innings.
Yeah, big numbers. Obviously, first batter efficiencies fail 60% of the time. So that tells you that they've been able to jump on that fastball early. 93, 96 mile an hour fastball, slider, 82, 86. A two-pitch mix only.
Melvin Mora with 2 on and 1 out. Mora tonight 1 for 3. Herndon, a 24-year-old from Panama City, Florida. He was with the Angels, and he was a Rule 5 selection by the Phillies out of the Angels organization this winter. And whenever you see that, you talk about the guys who've been successful, but you also may be talking about a guy, George, only 24, that may not quite be ready for this level.
It's a difficult thing to do. It really is.
Two-strike count on Mora. And this is up the middle. Oh, my goodness. Utley just stole 2 outs. You talk about his bat, don't forget his glove. He just kept this ball game tied.
How about the transfer? Oh, was hit hard? Dive, flip, double play. Wow.
The 8th. The only reason it's 5-5 is Chase Utley's glove. It doesn't get better than this.
I thought it was up the middle. I mean, the way it was hit, the way he dove, I said, oh, that's by. I kind of looked over towards third base, and then the flip and the spin from Valdez to be able to get the double play.
You know, Ryan Howard's at the bag because he's got to go to the bag, but I think he was as shocked as anybody. Man, we have a chance to turn it 2. Matt Belisle. It's a foul ball off the bat of Wilson Valdez.
But it goes back to that point that I think Chase Utley so many times is just known for his offense. His glove is pretty good too.
His glove's very good.
Yeah.
I was talking to Mick Billmeyer about that before the ball game, the bullpen coach. We were talking about his offense, and I said, you know, it used to be that they said Utley was just average defensively. And Billmeyer hits him as fungos every day. And he said, you know, some guys will go out there and they'll take, you know, a dozen, 15 ground balls, and then they'll call it quits and eventually make their way to the cage to hit with their group. He said he'll be out there 50, 60 ground balls before a game. He said he wears me out.
Well, and what happened today, we were talking to Mick, and Chase ran out there, and he said, I got to go, guys. I got to hit him his ground balls.
Yeah.
But if you want to get better at something, that's what you have to do.
Ground ball deep in the hole. Barmes on the move. And the pick by Giambi. Clint Barmes. You know, you don't see him there much because of Troy Tulowitzki. But if you think back a few years before Tulowitzki arrived, Barmes can play shortstop with the best of them.
He sure can. And to watch him make this throw in exchange, he's not going to have the arm strength of a Tulowitzki, yet a very strong arm. And that's where he comes up with it. On the Hyundai cam, you can see Giambi stayed very relaxed as that ball approached the bag at first base and made it easier to make that play.
That's 2 picks for Jason tonight.
Well, he's having his best day offensively, his best day defensively.
Well, what Jim Tracy had hoped for before the game, get 4 at bats, see if it helps you find the eye, drive in a few runs. He's done that. Come up with a couple of base hits, a walk.
This is Greg Dobbs.
1 for 12 as a pinch hitter. I think one area that they'd like to see improvement upon.
For a while, Dobbs was one of the premier left-handed pinch hitters in baseball. Last year, he struggled. They went and got another left-handed pinch hitter in Ross Globe. He was briefly a Rocky number of years ago. So those are their top 2 on the left side off the bench most nights, Dobbs and Globe.
Globe's 3 for 16 as a pinch hitter this year.
2 outs. Hey, repair that chip in your windshield. Call Safelite Elite Auto Glass 303-287-5000. Online at safelight.com. That'll bring up Shane Victorino. And like most days, he's been a pain in the neck. Triple in the first and a run scored. A walk in the second. A walk in the fifth and a run scored. And then a triple in the sixth and a run scored. This is his first at bat from the left side tonight. Yeah, Danny Baez has been around a long time, former closer. He could still bring it in the mid to upper 90s. And apparently he will be next. Brad Lidge yesterday, a Cherry Creek product who had off-season elbow surgery. Came back a little more than a week ago. Got his first save of the year yesterday in that 5-3 victory over the Braves for Philadelphia. Pitched a 1-2-3 ninth. A couple of fly balls to the warning track, and then got an easier third out. Here's the 2-1 on Victorino. And it's hit foul. Three and two. Well, the ball hits the dirt, Jeff, and the hitter, he doesn't even turn the umpire. I'm going to get rid of it myself.
Oh, of course. I don't want him to throw a scuff ball, even if it's a little bit. Get it out of there. But anymore, when it hits the dirt, that's what they do.
But how come when they hit a ground ball to second, they don't throw it?
I don't know.
Did I stump you guys?
You stumped me for a minute. That's a good point.
Victorino's been on base all 5 times. Todd Helton on the Rockies bench tonight, and a bat is never far from his hands. We've got a right-handed pitcher now, not the lefty and Greg Smith who started the ball game. See if Victorino looks to run with 2 outs and Polanco at the plate. Olivo behind the plate. You give him a chance, he's going to get you. 10 of 19 this year. Victorino has swiped 4 in 5 attempts.
Well, he's got a guy too at the plate that's not afraid to take a pitch or two for him.
Five in the 8th. Both teams in double digits in terms of hits. Stewart, Olivo, and Barnes next half inning for Colorado.
It appears Randy Flores is warming up down in the bullpen for the Rockies too, and it's one good reason the guy in the on deck. So
yeah, this you think's the last hitter for Bala. Hopefully you don't need Randy here in this inning. 2 outs. Utley on deck. Polanco at the plate. And it's popped up right side. Hobbs got a long run, but he'll get there. Well, he dropped the baseball. Victorino halfway home, and he's going to stop there. A lot of wind, long run, and Brad Hawk didn't handle it.
well, you're not going to see that out of Brad Hawk very often, folks. I can tell you that. 2 outfield miscues here. One right now as he comes in on the ball. There is a lot of wind. Caught it right into the palm. Popped out of his glove. The wind got knocked down. Thought he had it the whole way. Did have it the whole way till the very end.
And now Jim Tracy's got to go bring in Flores to face Utley. And there's no other way to describe it. The Rockies have really played a poor game defensively tonight. So Randy Flores will come on to face Chase Utley after we step aside for a moment. 5-5 in the 8th with 2 outs. In Denver, where you can make the world your workplace. Well, the Rockies have 5 runs and 10 hits. The Phils have 5 runs and 10 hits, but the Rockies have committed 2 costly errors and a double play that was not turned. The Rockies are fortunate that it's 5-5, and now they need Randy Flores to get one of the best hitters in baseball. And Chase Utley, George, and Jeff could care less whether a righty's up there or a lefty, 60 feet,
really,
6 inches
you're
away.
right. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but you're just going to try to figure out the best available way you can go with it. And if this is what you think it is, with Flores versus this guy, because Utley is one of the best. He's 3 for 8 in his career against Randy Flores. Play your numbers, play the percentages, and hope they work to your favor on that given night.
Ball 1. Utley, in fact, is tied for the National League lead in home runs against left-handed pitching with 5. That's a strike, 1-1.
Nice location on that fastball.
And Beimel was used the last time through this portion of the lineup. It's why Jim Tracy likes the luxury of having 2 lefties down there. In actuality, he has 3 now because Morales is not in the closer spot right now. This is in the air to left field. And now Smith moves over and makes the catch. No harm done by the drop fly ball, fortunately. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Ian Stewart will lead it off at a 5. And then in the 3rd, he came up and he delivered a sac fly. And then last inning, he tied up the baseball game. A broken back floater that landed harmlessly in right center field, bringing home Dexter Fowler. 3 RBI night. 2nd in a Rockies uniform. He had one last September against Arizona. 5-5, bottom of the 8th. And the first hitter will be Ian Stewart. Stewart is 1 for 3, a double back in the 4th inning. And the new pitcher is the veteran Danny Baez. High ERA, 15th appearance. He still throws very hard.
Well, he got a very good slider. He'll run at times up into the high 80s. He throws a split finger up to 90, 87, and basically 91, 92, which is extremely hard. Fastball 94, 98. He'll throw it about 75, 80% of the time.
This is just the 4th time he's ever appeared in a ball game at Coors Field.
With Tampa Bay, right? Closer with them, Florida. A couple of different ball clubs. Phillies have left 10 on base tonight. The Rockies. Oh, wow. The Rockies, 6.
That was like a Little League pullback in the zone, Jeff. You see that? I mean, Carlos Ruiz pulls it back, and Phil Cuzzi bought it.
I mean, anytime you see it, it might have been a strike on the 4th strike zone. But just the way he moved his wrist and hand back over.
And And back live, Stewart swings through the next pitch, so he's gone. This is the second time a Rocky has struck out tonight.
Yeah, one look at that strikeout pitch of the Ford strike zone. It's a high fastball, swing and a miss behind it. Looked like he had a little move and tail to the right. Could have been that split finger. But he throws it so hard. He'll throw it up 88, 89. That looked like high heat with some tail to it.
Miguel Olivo. A little rough patch. And he takes a strike at the knees. Olivo's 2 for his last 27 at the plate.
One of those was that infield single in San Francisco.
Pitch out over the plate to swing out there. 0-2 on Olivo. Pitcher spot is 2 doors down. Ryan Spilborghs with a helmet on. And this is in the air to left center field. Victorino's going to get over and make the catch. Well, that'll bring up Clint Barmes with 2 outs and nobody on. Fans, feed your baseball fever at Taco Bell. If Colorado scores 7 or more runs during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locales the next day between 4 and 6. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a medium drink. See if Barmes can ambush a high fastball in the inner half. Well, he's going to take one on the side, go to first.
Now they'll call back. Obviously, Randy Flores and Ryan Spilborghs is going to go out and pinch hit.
One thing about Clint Barmes, and you know Don Baylor really appreciates it. Barmes, he never hits the dirt when he's in the batter's box. If the ball's coming at him, he just turns, rolls that shoulder, and he takes it.
It's just like what Groove used to do. Stick his elbow out there occasionally. Clint just rolled with that one.
Tough Midwestern kid from Vincennes, Indiana.
Spilborghs on the season 2 for 7 with an RBI as a pinch hitter.
High ball 1 on Spilborghs. Seth Smith, single, double, triple, and 4 trips tonight. He is on deck. That catches the zone. Two and 1 on Spilborghs. On the outside corner, it's 2-2. Now it runs full, and the good news is that Barmes will be moving with the pitch. You get one in the gap, and the Rockies, in all likelihood, will take the lead.
I just looked at also the outfielders now for the Phillies have backed up an extra couple steps to try to combat that.
Line drive, right field. Barmes will get to third. Ryan Spilborghs, pinch single, and here comes Seth Smith, Mr. Late Night.
With no other left-handers in their bullpen, J.C. Romero came on to pitch early in the ball game. It sets up well for Seth Smith. Fourth strike zone, fastball. You know you're going to get it. It's a tie game, 3-2. Spilborghs just does what he needs to do, and that's the drive to right field. Varmus with a couple outs, everything on the move. You end up at third base, and you say, you take that gamble. It's not a gamble. The throw wasn't going to come there. They're not going to start moving the ball around. You've got to be ready if you're Clint Varmus for a hard slider in the dirt. Ball gets by your catcher. I mean, a number of things to score from third base can happen.
Well, if you're Seth Smith, Jeff, you treat it like one of those late pinch hitting at bats.
Definitely. You look for the first fastball that you're going to see from Baez and go ahead and get it, because he's been so good as a pinch hitter.
He was looking for it. He got it in the strike zone, just couldn't put the wood on it.
Yeah, because the pitchers that you've seen already, and Kyle Kendrick and J.C. Romero, are two different pitchers than Baez. Baez more hard, everything, even the split and the sliders.
That's called a strike also. And it caught the zone on our fourth strike zone, 0-2.
I say this, Drew, that ball had tremendous bite down, and it ran back. Whether it was strike or not is pretty close pitch, but it was just absolutely filthy. Look at this ball run and bite. You talk about locking up and pausing and getting on top of a ball and driving it. Baez is doing just that.
Good job by Smith battling.
That's a hard pitch for left-handers to get on top of. Fastball up and away from him to hit with authority. 95 miles an hour. Makes it even a little harder.
That was the first pitch that he swung at this at bat. The one that was up and he swung through it.
Boy, hitters very particular. They have a bunch of bats that they bring out of the clubhouse. And Seth was handed one by the bat boy, and it didn't feel right to him. So he went and grabbed another one.
A lot of times hitters will switch weighted bats. I mean, they may be a 33-ounce bat, and all of a sudden a guy with some pretty good heat, they drop down to a 32 and keep the same length.
Varmus at third. He was hit by a pitch. Moved to third on the single by Spilborghs. 5-5. Bottom of the eighth, 2 outs. 0-2 on Smith, and a ground ball to Utley. Rockies leave 2 on. We'll go to the 9th inning.
Lost him the ball game. Also, he's back. Jason Giambi, 3 RBI, 1 game does not a season make. but it's looking a lot better tonight. And of course, we'll get you down to the clubhouse after the game. Back to you, my friend, Drew.
Yeah, do you have your harem with you tonight?
No, I got nothing.
Yeah,
I'm some solo out here.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the Cowboy's going to show up.
Well,
he's got 3 outs, maybe.
It may be a little chilly for the Cowboy. Not as young as he used to be.
Hey, he may take his jacket off. For him, this is a gentle Wyoming breed. He doesn't care. That's how he rolls. That's the Cowboy.
That's why you're right. That is the Cowboy. Manuel Corpus on for the 14th time this year. Ryan Howard will lead it off. Jason Worth, Raul Ibanez. 1-run games. Philadelphia's 4-2. The Rockies 2-6. That's a strike. You know, this is a situation, you know, a week 10 days ago, you'd see Franklin Morales.
Absolutely you would, but because of his failures and the inability to throw strikes, Corpus's ability to go back and act just like he did in 07 has earned this position.
Good spot there, and he's ahead 0-2. I mean, for 2 reasons you would have seen Morales. He was closing games for the Rockies, and the other thing is that Howard and Ibanez, who's in the hole, are left-handed hitters.
Well, one thing about it, though, Corpus has had success against these guys, and I think that's what they're looking at more than anything else. And to see what their big power is. Try to bring in the hard sinker and reverse it back the other way. Ibanez said he struggled against left-handers. That's not what you wanted to do. Fastball at 91 with Plug Howard.
Now you put the go-ahead run on with nobody out.
Trying to go up and in with the fastball, carried it too far. Howard takes it right on the elbow versus taking it in the ribs.
And he doesn't use one of those elbow pads either.
Jason Worth, a couple of walks, a double, and a strikeout. He has the highest batting average of any of the Phillies.
435 versus left-handers, 326 coming into the game versus right-handers. All of his 7 home runs have come against right-handers. 0 for 2 in his career versus Corpus.
Worth third in the league in hitting, and that misses 1-1. Andre Ethier, who the Rockies just had to deal with over the weekend, leading the National League at 383. Ryan Braun is next, and then Worth. One ball and 2 strikes on Worth, who also is leading the National League with 17 doubles.
Well, part of that speaks to his speed, too.
We're not a fifth of the way into the season.
Yeah.
He's got 17 doubles. And a pop up in the middle of the diamond. Good pitch. Giambi. One out.
It came in again. I mean, you try to look at flags, see what you had wind-wise. You know, hard slider down and away off the end of the bat. You know, it's a very good pitch by Manny Corpus. And again, hard slider. Kept it in a very good location, down and off of the plate and down. Hyundai Cam, you can see out front again. That wide stance that Worth has, and fooled him enough to get the induce the fly ball to Giambi.
Strike one on Ibanez. Oh for 4 tonight. Line to center his last time up. Howard, a conservative 2-step lead. Look out. That's going to go to the backstop. And now Howard is in scoring position. And the double play is no longer a possibility. I'll tell you what. I mean, if the Rockies end up finding a way to win this thing, Thank goodness, because they played an ugly baseball game tonight.
A couple errors, a play that wasn't made, George. Now a wild pitch.
Kills it.
Yeah, and now what you have to do is you're going to have to put Ibanez on to set up the double play again.
Well, you got one of their hottest hitters, Ruiz, coming up behind him. Philadelphia tonight has struggled with men in scoring position, 0 for 9. The Rockies 3 for 10 tonight. They've used Dobbs. Just trying to look around on their bench to see who they might have as a pinch hitter or a pinch runner for Howard.
Well, I probably have to leave him in there because Castro's got a bad wheel, and then you want to make sure you keep Ross Gload, your left-handed hitter. I mean, he could be an option because he could then go to first base.
Right. I mean, that's what I was looking at. Gload would go over. Nonetheless, they'll leave him there. He's lost the weight. His run and his speed has increased over what it used to be. Ruiz has had a pretty nice night. He's had a couple of singles. He hit a home run back in the 6th inning.
George, he came into the ball game 7th in the league in hitting, and he's moved up in that category tonight with the 3 hits you mentioned. But if Manny can get that power sinker over and get a ground ball, you have a chance to quickly head off the field.
That's what you're looking for. Now, the only thing here, of course, late in games, you obviously don't want a ball getting over your head and giving up a couple. Hop's playing fairly deep in right. Dexter's about mid-range in center. Same with Smith. With Smith in left field.
That's a strike at 92. You know, that velocity, George, it's slowly coming back.
Oh, great to see. Yes, it is.
I'm just looking at the traffic tonight, George. No 1, 2, 3 innings when the Rockies have been on defense. Greg Smith allowed 12 base runners in 5 2/3. And then there were 2 more base runners in the 7th. A couple of base runners in the 8th. A couple of base runners in the 9th. 2 and 1. Showed him the slider there. In a perfect world, Jeff, you'd like to get the sinker over because that's a tougher pitch to lift.
Yeah, and you need the double play, too. So if you can get that sinker to kind of work down and in or away from him, come back, get him to roll over.
Well, the thing you're always concerned with on the slider, too, is if you get around it just a little bit, it just flattens out with a lot less velocity. You slow it down more to a hitter's speed. They can adjust to it.
Three and 1.
Got the fastball at 91, but a very good location with some heavy sink to it. Fourth strike zone, you're going to see this ball just drop out of the strike zone on the inner half of the plate.
That would work well right here again.
Interesting to see if Charlie starts the runners here.
Nope. Ground ball through the hole, base hit. Smith was deep. Howard around third coming home, and he's going to score easily. 6-5 Philadelphia. A hit batter, a wild pitch, an intentional walk, and a broken bat single, and Philadelphia has a 9th inning lead.
That's what happens. Your defense gets a little back and deeper. So on a ground ball hit to left, you're going to force an issue to him here. And that sinker was up. It was not down in the strike zone. So it's the charge of the baseball. And then you can see Howard with a very, very wide turn was able to come around and score. at home plate. Ruiz comes up with another big base hit.
This is a kid that's hitting the 250s most of his career. He brought a 325 average in. He's 4 for 5 tonight. When he wakes up tomorrow morning, he's going to be among the top 5 hitters in the National League in mid-May. And he's given his club a 9th inning lead. Now Ross Gload is going to hit for Wilson Valdez. Still just 1 out. And it's not Brad Lidge up right now. It's the guy that finished the season last year with the Rockies, and the guy that the Rockies had hoped to bring back to work out of the bullpen, Jose Contreras. Ross Gload last year led all of baseball with 21 pinch hits.
He's always been a guy that could hit, that just really couldn't or didn't have a position. He could play first base, he could play some outfield. But all the time coming up in the minor leagues, this guy put up numbers.
You just can't have as many base runners, allow as many base runners as the Rockies have tonight.
Free base runners.
Free base runners. I mean, hit batters, errors, walks. Just back to that old line. Forget playing against your opponent. You're playing against yourselves.
What was it? Gene Glenn made the comment when he was with San Francisco and they were playing great baseball. He said, well, what makes your team so good? He said they play a clean 27 outs.
Yep.
He said they don't play 25 and make an error, 22 make an error, or play 10 and have a bad pitched inning or a bad hit inning and then try to recover from it. They just play clean 27 outs.
Here's the 2-1 to Ross Gload. Close, 3-1. It's Ben Francisco, an extra outfielder. He'll be the pinch hitter if it gets to the next spot. Gload was with the Rockies for 31 at-bats in 2002. With 258 with a home run and 4 driven in. And this ball is tagged to right. Hop going back, and it's gone. 3-run home run, Ross Gload. And this inning and this night has turned real ugly fast.
The first home run for him, coming off of the bench. As I mentioned, 3 for 12 as a pinch hitter for Ross Gload earlier tonight. 3 for 16, and 1 RBI. All that Jim Tracy can do. Just kind of sit back, shake his head, and what if for this ball game. It appeared to be a slider because the ball cut back into him. We'll see on the Hyundai cam exactly. Left-handers like the ball down, Jeff, and he got one.
And he got the leg drive through it. You see that right foot kind of roll over. That helps you drive through it. And that ball just kept taking off and went up over the fence. Because when he first hit it, I thought, okay, it's going to hit the base of the wall, and it climbed over the top of it. That's the backspin it had on it.
Well, Manuel Corpus had been everything but just near perfect for this ball club. 21 plus innings. He'd only given up 11 hits. He kept the ball in the ballpark and done his job. And unfortunately here tonight, it turned sour in a hurry.
0-1 on Francisco. Two outs. Nine, 5, Philadelphia. Rockies trying to do something they haven't done all night. That's retire this guy.
Yeah, he's had a pretty special night. Kind of like Seth Smith had a very special night for the Rockies. Single, a double, a triple. He scored 3 runs. Well, this guy's done nearly the same thing. 2 triples. He's walked twice and scored 3 runs. Walked 3 times and scored 2 runs.
Ball and a strike on Victorino. And that's outside, 2-1. Well, the inning started with Ryan Howard at the plate, and Corpus quickly got 2 strikes on him, and then he tried to bust him in, and unfortunately he came too far in and he hit Howard. Worth popped out. So things still look pretty bright. Obanez at the plate, and Corpus uncorked a wild pitch. So that put the go-ahead run at second. Took the double play out of the mix. So the Rockies elected to walk Obanez, and then Carlos Ruiz on a 3-2 pitch rolled the ball through the left side to score 1, and then Ross Gload hit the 3-run home run. Four-run 9th inning for the Philadelphia Phillies. 9-5. The Rockies will need an enormous rally in the bottom of the 9th. Take a break. Poll of the game, 9-5 Philadelphia. Would you cheer for an opponent if he was about to throw a perfect game? Let's see how you all voted tonight. 60% said yes, because there's only been 19 of them in the history of the game. And 39% said no, and 1% were undecided, evidently. Brakes Plus, celebrating 20 years and rolling back prices during May only. Get $49 semi-metallic brakes, $69 ceramic brakes. New shortstop Juan Castro, since Wilson Valdez was pinch hit for. That worked out real nice for Charlie Manuel. Ross Gload hit a 3-run home run. And Jose Contreras with the big split finger will be aboard.
Yeah, Still also possesses pretty good fastball. He'll run it up to the mid-90s with a hard slider, but the split finger is the out pitch for him. 5 hits and 10 2/3. Look at the ERA, 0.84, 12 appearances on the season. As retired first batters faced, and again, they're talking an awful lot about that coming out of the bullpen. So important, though. 75% of the time.
The other number that jumped out at me, George, 15 strikeouts, only 1 walk.
Well, watch what he does. I mean, he just pounds the strike zone. Stays on top of the baseball. His arm, more than ever, is very high on the baseball. A lot of National League scouts have felt like with his stuff, he could have been a pretty good closer for somebody.
One and two on Fowler. One out in the ninth.
Right fielder, number 11,
Well, George, periodically teams play clunkers like this. You try not to make a habit of it. The one thing that's been disturbing about the first 6 weeks, amid all the injuries, the Rockies haven't put a stretch together where they've really played. We addressed it last inning, clean 27 outs over a stretch of time. I mean, there's been games where they've played well, obviously, but you haven't seen 6, 7, 8 in a row where everything's tightened up.
And again, it's very frustrating too for everybody, for the simple fact that when your expectations are set as high as this club had and as the fans have of this ball club, you got to try to go out and live to those every single day and do what you've got to do to have that success. Again, it all starts out there on that bump. You've got to be able to make the pitches regardless whether it's the first inning or the ninth inning in order for you to win a lot of ball games.
Brad didn't swing. It's 2-1. And of course, the assignment gets far more difficult tomorrow. Tonight, the Rockies faced the middle back end of the rotation guy in Kyle Kendrick. Tomorrow, they face 6-1 Roy Halladay with a 1.45 ERA. Aaron Cook will go for Colorado.
Well, you look at all the strikeouts too. 56 innings, 48 strikeouts. To beat Halladay, you're going to have to swing the bat. Aaron Cook, last start here at home, fairly good. Needs to go back to that heavy sink and try to work quick in this game. And it will favor that sinker because supposedly tomorrow night going to be in the 50s when the game starts as the front moves in. So guys don't like to hit heavy balls in that kind of weather.
What jumps off the screen at you is the fact that Halladay has a strikeout to walk ratio of almost 7-1.
And just 7 walks on the season for him. 3 pitches that he can put wherever he wants, either side of the plate.
2 outs, nobody on. Jason Giambi. He's been the bright spot tonight for the Rockies. 2 for 3 and a sac fly, 3 RBIs. So hopefully this gets number 23 rolling forward.
That is a silver lining today because you are going to need him moving forward.
And this ball is hit pretty well left center field. And it is off the middle of the wall, a long opposite field double. You get a feeling as to just how strong Jason Giambi is and remains. 3-hit night for Giambi. He had 2 hits coming in.
94-mile-an-hour fastball to the location on the outer half down. He stayed right on the pitch, got his extension. And you can see coming out of the box, he's thinking maybe, just maybe, this ball might ride out of the yard. It hits about halfway up. How about Victorino? That thing's going to ricochet back. He just bare hands it and fires it back to the middle of the infield.
If he hadn't hit it to the deepest part there in left center field, that ball's out.
Yeah, it's out of virtually any other spot in the park. Melvin Moore is 1 for 4 tonight. Was robbed of a base hit his last time up. In fact, it would have been a base hit and an RBI in the 7th inning to give the Rockies the lead after they had tied it at 5 on the Giambi hit. Instead, Utley turned it into a 6-4-3. It was the defensive play of the night, and it really underscored the difference between the 2 clubs tonight. Philadelphia played well on defense. The Rockies did not. This is in the air to right. Worth has it, and Philadelphia has won this baseball game 9-5. And since the beginning of 2008, including the postseason of last year, Philadelphia is now 13-3 against the Rockies. The player of the game is brought to you by Grainger, for the ones who get it done. And Carlos Ruiz, the hitting start tonight for Philadelphia. He came in with an average of .325. He went 4 for 5, including the go-ahead RBI in the 9th inning to make it 6-5. Of course, Ross Glover hit a pinch-hit 3-run home run to really blow it open. Our Grainger player of the game is Carlos Ruiz. The winning pitcher is Danny Baez. He is 1-1. Manuel Corpus takes the loss. He is 1-2. Rockies fall 9-5. They're 2 games under 500.